And welcome to another exciting installment of the Terrorisk podcast.
How you doing, Chris? Happy to be back here again. Once again.
Happy to have you back.
And for many happy returns.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. All I got on my mind right now is fucking Russian figure skaters.
I shouldn't have allowed you to watch those Russian figure skating videos. Your
Yeah.
mind is just ablaze at the thought of Slavic women.
You know what? I had this kind of like fixation before. It was when I watched this like documentary about college cheerleading.
Yes.
Like competitive cheerleading. Not just
Right.
like, they're not just cheerleaders for a sports team. Like they're actually a team of cheerleaders who compete against each other in just cheerleading.
Yeah, like what George W. Bush did. Well, he wasn't like competitive cheerleader. He was just a cheerleader at Yale.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, he was actually very good at it. He was very good at hyping people up.
Well, the thing is, to be like those male cheerleader dudes, like, yeah, I used to make fun of them too, but you got to be very fucking strong to do that shit, like strong and flexible as a guy, because your job as the guy cheerleader in the team, you're throwing those bitches and you're catching
Yeah.
those. Like, if you're not...
And also acting as a hype man, which apparently he was very good at for the team.
Well,
He
all
was
right,
I don't know, shouting into a bullhorn.
Well, that's why it's even harder, especially
Megaphone.
nowadays, because now you have more ethnic kids that join these teams, so now they're capable of doing
bones.
They're capable of doing more things. So now,
better hyping. Yes.
So now even the male cheerleaders are expected to do tumbling. You know what tumbling is?
yes.
Yeah, when you like do the flip, the
Yeah.
corkscrews in the air and shit. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I see an acrobat, half the time I describe them as a tumbler,
Yes, yeah.
not just as a reference to the website.
So as a male cheerleader now in these new American standards in college is, you know, in competitive teams, you have to know how to tumble. You have to be able to do that. And so yeah, like, but again, like that, I was just blown away by it. Like they basically, the thing about college, professional competitive college cheerleading is there is no competitive cheerleading after college, because you could only do it at the highest physical levels in that specific age group, from the age of like 17 to 21.
That makes sense.
After that,
Ooh.
you're done competitive cheerleading. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you could do it in smaller circuits, but the biggest, most prestigious competitions and contests of cheerleading are college, are college competitions, and that was like really fascinating to me, because it's like you're basically sacrificing like the best years of your life for like this one moment. It's not even like a whole career they get to look forward to. It's just this
Hobby for a certain period of time that you put a tremendous amount of time and effort into. That being said, some ways that's a big. Just put all of it on that. If you screw up at the big event when you're 21, you don't
get another chance.
comeback.
Yeah.
That's rough. At the same time, a lot of people waste their 18 through 21 years. So at least you can always say, I did this, as opposed to sitting home smoking weed.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's why I respect it. You know, I don't judge them. I don't look down on them. And I have a lot of respect for that, because I resonate with that. You know, like as a martial artist, I'm only going to be like not 40, you know, like for so long, for like another less than 10 years. I'll only be at my physical peak for so long to be able to compete at a specific kind of level, you know, like, yeah, I know it's sword is a sword, but still, like, you still get advantages by being in your like certain age.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, of course. Life is fleeting in a lot of ways. And as per all the cliches about youth being wasted on the young, it's very easy to not be in the right headspace.
But I think that's what it means to be an athlete.
Or to live it fully, yeah.
To be an athlete or a competitor is to not be one of those youths that waste their youth. You know?
Yeah, true. Because by nature, you have a finality you're very much aware of due to your aging.
You're being told, you're being reminded every single day. You're training with older dudes, you're training with younger dudes. The older dudes, you're looking at them like, you must have been the shit back in the day. The younger dudes, you're looking at them like, you're gonna fuck me up one day.
Yeah, it seems the passage of time seems very intense. I could see why you would live life, or you go hard to make up for it when you're not on the field, you're not practicing. I never really cared for sports whatsoever.
Me neither. But the thing is, like, in some cases, I'm starting to see it now. It
Yeah.
pays off. Like if it's
see it.
UFC, if it's football, if it's like a profitable sport. I mean, if it's something like figure skating, like, it's, you know, like, yeah, I love figure skating. I think it's a very prestigious.
You're putting a lot of yourself, you're putting your life at your health on the line. You're probably gonna have long-term injuries anyway.
Your mental health.
Maybe
like,
even if you get paid an okay amount, it's probably not that much.
figure skating probably get
nothing.
Paid. They don't get. I don't think.
Yeah, I figured they wouldn't.
No, I mean they get paid, but they don't get paid as much compared to like what they're spending and investing.
Yeah,
in
exactly. Of their energy, their time.
What they do
The
get money
fame,
on.
and even the fame is only within a limited field. How many?
I mean, here's the thing about like, let's say you get let's say you get a gold medal at figure skating in the Olympics.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, there's only so many gold medalists out there, so there's only so many poster children they could use to help sell their products and stuff like that. So it's still.
And most people just aren't interested in it unless you have a devoted interest in one field or subject.
Basically, you're
one
being.
sport.
It's like you're competing to command your niche. You know, you're competing
Yeah.
to like be the commander of your little niche compared to like.
It's very rare that any Olympian crosses over and is known in the mainstream.
I mean, it's also funny. Like, what Olympian all-star do you know is more significant than say like Eli Manning? You know.
yeah, yeah. Compared to like the big team sports, you're just blown out of the water. Even someone like who's the cannonball like black chick, Simone Biles? Is that it?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, there you go. Like she was pushed as a crossover, like big, Caitlyn Jenner, when Caitlyn Jenner was Bruce Jenner.
Yeah, but you know
she was on cereal boxes.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, your top tier curling champion will never be in a
Yeah,
cereal
yeah.
box
No,
except
here's
maybe in Canada.
Here's the thing about being playing in American professional sports, not just
Yeah.
in the Olympics as an American, but I'm saying like in the NFL.
The big team sports.
The thing is, in America, like I'm saying, pure physicality wise,
Yeah.
biologically, like we have in our country the craziest athletic specimens you could ever fucking find in this world. I mean, like our football players are nuts.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, maybe you'll find one freak of nature in Spain or in Africa or whatever, but it's compared to like the actual pool of like just jacked fucking natural dudes
Yeah.
that you draw from. There's no place like America.
And we have an entire infrastructure built around cultivating those talents, getting them working out young, all that.
And it's also
fixing their problems.
And it's also like the sport in particular. For example, like let's say you take the best Japanese basketball team compared to the best like team in the NBA.
Well, there's one huge difference, which is height. We have a lot more tall people.
Black people.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's what
And
exactly.
we have tall
But
whites.
you're gonna look
No,
at
those
it
are from, like,
as an
Serbia.
American. You're gonna look at it, you know, as like, you know, we have a lot of black dudes. But you know,
It's not- yeah.
But for like the Japanese, they're gonna look at it. America just has monsters.
Yeah,
Like, whether they're
yeah.
black or white, they just have
Yeah.
monsters. You know, like physical.
You see, like the Olympic Games where the American basketball teams competing against like the Ecuadorian one,
Yeah.
and the difference, like, it's just so unfair of a comparison.
Yeah, but all right, now let's flip that. Like, suppose you took like the best Japanese baseball team against the best
Yeah.
American baseball team. Suddenly, it'll be a little different.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to be like as one-sided as the basketball game would be,
Yeah.
but I'm saying like it's going to be a little different. It's not going to be as like, you know, shut out.
Yeah.
Because it's a different animal of a sport. That being said, that's another reason why I love figure skating is because the highest competitors, you could find them anywhere. You could find them coming out of like all sorts of countries, from America, from Russia, from China, from Korea, from, well, I don't know. South America surprisingly
Yeah.
doesn't have too many. It's because they're not a winter peoples compared to like the fucking Eastern Europeans,
Yeah.
and Americans and Canadians. Oh,
Where
my
are the
God,
Siberian Kalmyks competing? Or North Koreans?
oh my God, the Canadian
China conquered Tibet just so they could have winter sports athletes.
Yep.
They just have
No.
to breed a
China
mountainous
doesn't-
form of Chinese.
China doesn't need to invade anyone to have China already has like they already have their own figure skating world also. I think they
That
made
makes sense for figure skating.
yeah, in the last Olympics, I think it's a Chinese team that won the gold in one of the competitions.
They've tried so hard and poured so much resources into their Olympics team with mixed results.
It was pairs figure skating in 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. China won, and they were like a sweetheart team in the world stage. Like everyone loved them because China's premier pair figure skating team, they're married. They're a married couple.
Yeah.
So when it shows in their performance, like when you see them skating together, you could see them like doting on each other during the performance. And it's like one of the commentators said, it's not like she was expressing more emotion or he was expressing, like they were both expressing equal amounts of feeling into the skate, which is apparently like a very it's a thing you love to see as a spectator, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
you know
I also think it was rigged because, of course, they're not going to let the Chinese team lose in Beijing.
I don't know if it is. Maybe it is. Oh, lose. Yeah, probably. Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's true. regarding the rigging, also the steroid usage. But do you know what's a country that does very poorly in the Olympics despite their attempts?
Who?
India.
What could they possibly be good at? They're little people.
They're bad at everything athletic. They sometimes can do okay at cricket, which is not a very athletic sport, which is probably why they like it.
Isn't chess a sport? Olympic sport?
That's really dominated by
Chinese people?
no, Jews.
Jews?
Yeah, in particular, I think they do very well at it. You think India would do better at it? It seems like something an Indian dude would be good at.
There was this really funny satirical show, and this I think this Indian kid was like the champion of like the world battleship tournaments.
Yeah.
Like the actual board game Battleship.
Yeah, not even a very good board game.
Imagine being like the world fucking champ. How do you be
Hey,
the world champion at Battleship? It's like a
It's
random.
probably a very limited pool of players because there's so many other better games you can play.
That's true. But again, like, isn't it such a random game where you can't possibly have any kind of edge in
Yeah.
the game of Battleship? It's not possible.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a ton of strategies like lightly placement positions, certain like following the grid procedure you can do.
Interesting. But it's still so open and so like you'd have to really know your opponent. That's what it is. Like you'd have to look at their past games and see
I bet statistically there are certain locations people just naturally tend to put their ships. I don't think it's totally randomized. I bet like I don't know where, but I bet there's certain areas of the grid, the XY axis that people usually place ships on.
But this
Because
also goes back to like who you're dealing with, like who you're actually playing. For example, like you could be playing with one guy who likes to like place on the edges more close to the edges. You could have one guy who likes to place stuff more consolidated in unexpected ways. You know, like
I'm sure there are strategies
that are
around
just more that are statistically better.
Yes,
off,
exactly.
yeah.
I'm
Like
sure
mathematically.
I don't know the mathematics, Riyadh.
But I'm saying-
look, you're just guessing a location on an XY axis, right?
I'm saying, like, let's say we're playing at a level
Yeah.
where everyone knows the statistical likelihoods and the best statistical spots. But let's say I know you know that, and if I know that you're
Yeah.
counting on that within me, then maybe I'll subvert that and do something completely different.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably have awareness of it, sort of in the way that chess champion. I don't know actually, but
because
I
chess is one of those games that's like it's a perfect game. It's like one of
Yeah.
the very few perfect games, you know, where it's like you can only do so many things. But the battleship is a weird game because you're not given all the information, you know.
yeah.
Battleship is a weird game.
No, chess is an incredibly elegant game, and there's a reason why it's so famous. It went through a lot of changes to get to this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very old game. It has a lot of different variant rules.
Well,
and
I know
different
I've
things.
learned how to play. I learned how to play shogi.
Nice.
Shogi's a great game.
What is that?
It's Japanese. Chess. It's I think it's more fun than chess because with shogi your pieces could evolve. Your
Okay.
pieces could change into separate things.
Just
for
like Pokemon.
specific condition. I mean, just like checkers, really. Like if you
Yeah.
bring your piece
That
in,
happen. Well, you get a piece replaced. You move a pawn to the opposite
and
side.
you get a
You get a queen.
You get a queen.
Technically, you can get other pieces, but there's no reason not to get a queen.
It's true.
Maybe if there's like a limitation based on you already have a queen on the board, you get.
I'm sure there's a scenario.
I'm
out
sure there are a
where-
bunch of
yeah,
things like that
where,
because
where
there
it's
are
just more
variants.
beneficial. Yeah.
So anyway, tonight, after this, I don't know, half-hour opening about the Olympic Games.
What's wrong with that?
No, it's good. It's
fucking-
good. It is good.
I mean, what I'm really trying to do is I'm just trying to get. I mean, that's actually nothing to do with what you just said, but I'm just saying, like, I was trying to get a bunch of like bookings, quote unquote, for the podcast and like closer together, so I'll have more time to myself after that.
Yeah.
To spread out the releases, and then I could work on like music and stuff and. Other
Oh,
shit.
nice. You're good at scheduling and things like that.
Well, I have to be. 'Cause,
Of course, you're doing so much.
if I want to keep this going while also doing other shit I care about, then I'm gonna have to like figure it out. It's just podcasting is the hardest one because I have to do it with other people. You know,
Yes,
it's like
yes.
music. I could do that on my
Anything
time.
you do with someone else and with multiple people, the more you have, the more difficult it gets.
But the benefit is the podcasting is so freeform. I could do it with one friend. I could do it with another friend if they're not available. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's also like, I wasn't passing it.
Oh, sorry.
It's all good.
I should have figured,
But yeah, I don't know how I ended up in this. Oh, I remember. All right, so I ended up deep diving into figure skating because I recently rewatched Blades of Glory.
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious movie. But it's a really pointless fucking movie. It's a very pointless movie.
Is that a Will Ferrell movie?
Yeah, it's Will Ferrell and John Heder or
John Heder.
John
I don't know.
Heder.
Is this part of that run of movies Will Ferrell made when he was big, or maybe when he wasn't?
The last good, to me, the funny. I just recently watched this too. This is why I watched Blades of Glory. Actually, I recently saw the funniest Will Ferrell movie, in my opinion, of all time. It was Step Brothers. I mean, look,
I think a lot of people really love Step Brothers.
Anchorman was legendary. I get that, but I watched Step Brothers and I'm like, this is fucking relentless. Like there was just so many. It was an instant classic. There was just so many good bits in it. You know. You saw Step Brothers?
Parts of it.
You never saw the whole movie?
Awful.
Holy shit. I think it might even get you to have a chuckle or two. Like
I'm sure I don't mean to sound snobby.
Don't get me wrong. It's like it's an absurdly retarded, stupid movie, but it's like it's just relentless. It never lets up. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's also a really quotable movie. Like it's one of those quotable fucking movies.
Yeah.
But then after I saw that, I saw Blades of Glory, and Blades of Glory, I liked it. But not because of the movie. I liked it because it made me get into. It made me
That's
get.
okay.
It made
into
me get
figure
into
skating.
It made me get into figure skating. I was like, because like the premise of the movie is that they were just like two top dog male figure skaters, and they got into some shit and they got banned from singles, so they had to work together as pairs. And what I liked about it is that they brought in actual like known athletes within the
Within the figure skating world, that makes sense.
Yeah, within the skating world, and like it was, because it made me wonder, like after I saw that the whole like they were referencing legends and shit, like that Asian girl Michelle Kwan,
Yeah.
or Tara Lipinski.
Yeah.
Anyway, I it got me curious, like what were the best pairs performances of all time, and I don't know. Apparently, like, I didn't know this. I mean, I should have realized this, but they just got better. Like, they just got more and more over the top over the years. Like, it's not like, oh, nothing will ever top 1990 whatever. No, it's like they just got better. They just got crazier over time, crazier and crazier, which I guess is the whole point of the Olympics in general.
That's the case with a bunch of sports, no? Haven't most of them just gone more extreme as new technique is found, as new advancements in technology around it?
I don't think it's like that for major team sports, because team sports is literally just about beating the other team. Whereas if
team sports, aren't they like achieving greater athletic achievements?
No. Like, see, remember we just established a difference between like there's games where you have to score more than your team, and then there's games where we're being judged by a panel of judges, and like based on a set of criteria of like athletic ability and execution and all that shit. I think like it's the latter is really that those sports are meant for like pushing past athletic boundaries of humanity, like.
Yeah, the individual ones.
Well, the individual who breaks a record is pretty much representing all of that's all of humanity breaking that record,
right?
Like,
as opposed to a competition between two teams.
That's why the Olympics are important, in my opinion. It's not just about like countries proving who has the better athletes. For humanity in total to be able to say,
this is the height of our achievement within this field.
We could officially jump this much higher, or we could officially run a quarter mile this much fast, even if it's a fraction of a second. Yeah. That's important because, like, if we keep doing that, even 1% better than last time is still incremental over a time, like a longer period of time, which is, I think, is great.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it really does. You're right. I see what you're saying about that record setting for one individual just being judged.
Well, it's also, like it's important because it's like indicative of human ability.
Yeah. Well, team sports indicate it too. Just as you see taller, more extreme, or more muscular players. But yes, or older in the case of ones who are undoubtedly secretly juicing. Do you know about Pierre Thiel trying to have a...
Oh, it's an Olympics where it's like you're allowed to juice as much as you want. Yeah, that's cool.
I'm really intrigued by this because this is a concept many people have said and I've long been a proponent of.
Yeah, I think it's good because first of all, it'll take a lot of pressure off of juicing for the actual
it would. Yeah. Depending on how successful it is.
But the only problem with that I could see is like, what if that just becomes more significant than doing it natty? Which I wouldn't want to see. I wouldn't want like, doing.
Depends on how extreme they get.
they're gonna go as extreme as they fucking. That's just humanity. That's just
Yeah.
how we always go harder, faster, stronger. That's no matter what it is. It's always harder, faster, stronger.
Yeah, I'd be very intrigued to see it. But yeah, I know you're worried about surpassing traditional unjuiced athletes.
But who am I to say like that's just
Yeah.
getting, I wouldn't want to get in the way of progress ultimately, regardless of what form it takes. I'm just worried about the cost. Like that's all it is.
Yeah.
Because if it turns into a thing where it's like all of humanity is just juicing as like a regular thing, is like
Most people won't. Well, people already do that with a lot of recreational drugs, with people being on T-cycles or various forms of tren. Look at all the actors. You have scrawny character actors who will get cast in a Marvel movie and then get incredibly buff and shrink their balls and require TRT for the rest of their lives. And they do it to say a few lines in a shitty movie made by committee.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess like what I'm more interested in that those kinds of people do in those echelons of society is like when they go out partying and then they have like access to a whole IV rig when they get to their house. Like, yeah, tomorrow morning I'll feel great. Like that's
what you really want, is the ability to party like that and then have an IV. I would actually really like that too.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, it would. Yeah, you really should just have a partying Olympics to see who can go the hardest in a social circumstance.
We already have something. We already go to insane lengths, especially for our biggest sports like UFC. Here's what these UFC athletes do. They're insane. Yeah. So what they do is like right before a weigh-in for a competition or for a fight, what they do is they'll like do insane. They'll literally dehydrate to such an extreme degree where they'll put like plastic garbage bags over their whole body and jog on a treadmill for like 45 minutes to an hour. They literally lose like 6 to 16 pounds or some shit just in straight up water weight. And then they go in for the weigh-in, right? So they barely make weight. Yeah. And then during the actual fight, they just hydrate up again, like all over again. And then they get, and then
they're just like a sponge that's been wrung out.
Exactly. And then they soak it. Yeah. That's not only is that insanely dangerous, irresponsible. Like that's just it's pretty crazy. It's pretty fucking crazy. Like that level of gamesmanship, that's impressive to me. I'm like, you don't realize this until you look into it just a little bit and you're like, holy shit, this is actually ridiculous. Like, first of all, you have to wonder, like, should this be done this way? Like, is this right? Like, but then you're like, fuck it, they're already doing it. And you're like, these fights are fucking crazy. Like, these are like, I don't know, these guys who are at the top of their game. And what's even crazier is they got nothing else to bank on, So for some of these guys, this is all they got. It's either they win it,
make enough, they can retire, or really a bunch of people benefit from parlaying fame in one realm into another field. Yeah. A lot of these guys, so many athletes particularly team sports players with low IQs, waste their fortune very quickly.
Well, the thing is with MMA, there's a lot of sports that you're not expected to stay in forever.
Yeah.
At all. But the UFC is definitely one of the biggest.
What's the turnover for an average UFC fighter?
Crazy, insane. Like most UFC fighters, like we probably never hear about 90% of them.
Of course, but what's your top UFC fighters? How long does a career usually last?
Your top UFC fighter?
Yeah, your famous ones.
First of all, it's really about winning the championship, right?
Right.
'Cause in like a tournament style fashion, you go through your fights and or I think it's like you have to like you got to go up, you got to fight your way to enough victories to earn the right to take on someone who holds the title. Mm-hmm. That person has to defend the title. You could take it from them by beating them.
Yeah.
And that's probably really hard to do.
Yes. I'm just wondering how long they usually stay fighting, regardless of when they get the championship or not. But
all right, so like let's say they won the championship.
Yeah.
And they managed to hold on to it for like 10 years. I mean, if the thing is, like, I bet every world champion would love to hold on to their title indefinitely. The problem is there's always a guy who wants it more.
And younger and all that. And is like studying you so they have better knowledge of it.
And the longer you hold the title, the more vulnerable you become. Because that means you have to defend it year after year.
Yeah, you have all those kind of things that are just deleterious. And it's easy to rest on your laurels.
And eventually you're going to be in that octagon and you're going to get your fucking bell rung with either a huge knee to the fucking face, a big big ass elbow, a huge slam. It's gonna be something,
Yeah.
and you're gonna be down like a sack of potatoes, and everyone's
Yeah.
gonna fucking forget your name in the next. That's the brutality of combat sports. That's why like you have to wonder like guys like Mike Tyson are truly the beasts of the beast. Like if you even do this sport, I have utmost respect for you because you know like you're getting into the ring, you're getting your fucking bell rung, or you're either doing that to someone else or it's being done to you. So like a guy like Mike Tyson, he's literally I feel like a guy who's born to do that. Like he was built for it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, he's still in great shape. Surprisingly, perhaps.
Yeah,
At
he could probably-
56. He's still fast.
On any given night, he could probably take on like 6 out of 8 guys in any given room.
Oh, easily more than depending on the room. Wears down and brain damage, but yeah,
If it was, especially if he got the first hit, he could probably take down at least
a
like,
huge number. He would be one punch man, a whole bunch of guys.
Yeah, and because he's Mike fucking Tyson.
Yeah.
He's he doesn't even have to try to knock you out, and he can knock you out. Like,
Yeah.
It's literally, and you know what? That's what's crazy about that. First of all, what that should teach you is that it doesn't take that much force in a punch to like knock a guy out. That's number one.
Yeah.
Second, all that force doesn't come from your arms, doesn't come from your upper body and your shoulders. It's literally all hip movement and like pivoting into your punch. You could be an average built guy and like
You have the right technique. Yeah.
lay someone out easily, and it's really stupid. It's literally like VHS gymnastics shit. It's turn your hip, punch. It's literally if you just turn your hip with it, it doesn't matter how you're built. You're probably gonna lay someone out if you get them square in. Like if you just focus them right, like they're done. They're gonna drop. It's because like first of all, everyone's got a button. Like right in this like the top like where their cheek meets their jaw and like towards the back area. That if you hit that button, it's like if your brain rattles even like half a millimeter within your skull, it's like it's already a reset. It's like it's a break in the circuit for a split second before, and that's gonna loop back, and that's what creates that shutdown effect. Even if it lasts for like a split second, you're still getting shut down. You know?
Yeah.
So that's it, and that's why boxing is such a viable sport, even though it's so dangerous and so unsustainable. You can't get knocked out every single day and not expect to become retarded eventually.
Yeah. The cerebral trauma and over the long term.
You're gonna start slurring like big words like banana and two.
Yeah. Have a lisp like Mike.
Yeah. So yeah, but you know that's another reason why I think compared to boxing, MMA might be safer in some ways, like cerebrally, because like MMA, there's ways to lose through submission. And, like, you know, other ways of loss, like technical defeats, like through scoring and whatever. But boxing, it's like someone's probably gonna get knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, the sport. Yeah, it does favor or tend towards head blows.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. What's a Are there any sports you think are going to become unexpectedly popular with the general public the way UFC did?
Oh, of course. Every day, there's always going to be some new shit that people are going to want to compete over. I think a big
as prominent. Well, I guess UFC really replaced boxing in American cultural prominence, huh?
Well, so I have two favorite kinds of sports, right?
Yeah.
There's combat sports.
Yeah.
I mean, there's many different like flavors of sports in my eyes, but like, I love combat sports. They're fucking awesome, you know, because it's simulating war and it's not the real deal, but like who wants to die? Who wants to get killed? At least this is a way to like fight each other without killing each other. I respect that, you know. Like, I think humanity needs that. So I love combat sports. My second favorite type of sports is like the meta sports. You know, they're not actually athletic ability, but it's like there's such high level where it's like it's insanity. Like F1 drivers or like airplane racers or some shit like that. Like, you know, like you ever see like that kind of like sportsmanship is nuts. That's ridiculous. Like you're talking like fucking jets on like ground jets, you know, just like fucking going 200 miles per hour on like a closed circuit. That's still ridiculous. Like one little centimeter off in your like sequence of
events.
Sequence of events is like it's done. You know, your whole shit gets derailed. You're fucked. Especially things like rally. You ever see rally?
No.
Oh, rally is nuts. Like it's like dirt course, and they have these like 4-wheel drive crazy fucking rice rockets built with like off-road tires and lifted probably. And in the cars are always two people. You got the driver, and then you got the the guy who basically tells you like the directions beforehand. Like he gives you like 200 meters hard right, you know, and then 100 meters after that you got a hard left, and so, and then they have the intercom to do that, and it's all time attack. It's not like, you know, racing against each other, you know, like passing each other. It's all time. It's who gets the best time on the closed circuit. A lot of times you go so fast and it's so like treacherous that most people don't even finish. It's just like, it's crazy. I feel like a lot of people watch rally and other races just to see the crashes.
It makes sense
because it's crazy.
And the routine.
Yeah. It's crazy. The crashes are nuts. Like you watch, because it's everything. Like they're flying on anything from like a fucking $200,000 to $2 million machine.
Yeah,
and they're just barreling through. You know, like it's like it gets my heart pumping. You know, I'm like, even something stupid like NASCAR, it's still crazy. You know, like they're like they're really trying to like, you know, gut each other out there sometimes. You know.
Yeah.
How do you feel about like professional stock car racing and shit like that?
I was never that interested in it.
But when you think about it, like,
it's very impressive
conceptually. Yeah. Like there's a reason.
It's very impressive. It's interesting where it's culturally prominent, where it isn't.
And you know what they say? It's not just a sport that happens on the track. It's also a sport that happens off the track. Like to lobby for sponsors and to like gain the right kind of support and to like find the right kind of talent from the right pools and to have the right relationships with like the right companies, the right manufacturers, and the right hookups, like with like, you know. And when I say talent, I don't just mean like on the track like drivers. I mean the most talented mechanics, the most talented pit runners, the most talented guy who could just all his only job is to use a pneumatic screwdriver to like undo the bolts. Like that's his job. But he has to be the best in the world
at that, and like the fractions of a second that are being shaved off and things like that.
Like and there's a guy who's just so good at pumping fuel, like pouring fuel into the car, but he's the best in the world at it.
Yeah.
You know, like shit like that. Like that's what I love about that shit, because it's not just about the driver.
It's about the precision of the team around them
and the sponsors and the lawyers and the medical squad and the insurance companies, everything. Yeah. The marketing, because they need all of that, and the event throwers. Like each team needs to throw their own events so that they can like gain followers and supporters. And they also have to run probably social media nowadays. They have to run like Netflix appearances.
Yeah, those things are less significant than the actual people on the track that day. But yes.
And also, like, they recently made this movie about. It was the Gran Turismo.
I was going to mention the Gran Turismo movie.
Yeah, it was good.
Was it?
Yeah. I mean, it was based on their true story.
Yeah,
so
I think I got a feeling for it from the trailers I saw. But it was good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, the actual story is a good fucking story, if you ask me. You know, like, yeah, I think that's something that's going to happen more often, probably. You know, like they're going to realize talent doesn't just come from like institutionalized sources. Like it could literally come from like the kid.
Well, you like it because it's a movie about a gamer being successful.
Isn't that why you like it too? Like
I haven't seen it, but I would like it for that. Yeah, it's a good idea.
I mean, so yeah, it's good. But I still think, like, even before that movie came out, I still thought racing was one of the coolest and craziest fucking sports that humanity has ever engaged in. I mean, like car racing. To look at these fucking like machines of like precision. And like
it's a continuation of horse racing and chariot racing.
Yeah, but it's like it's more visceral and more in relation with the raw elements of this earth. You know, like
I bet it'd be interesting to see a chariot race back in Rome or its holdover in middle-aged Greece.
Honestly, you should
visiting Greece.
Sometimes, I even appreciate just bicycle races, like the fucking Tour de France. Like that shit is awesome. Like some of the shit, like it makes such cultural impacts that ripple throughout Europe. Like there's this they have traditions. Like they have like cafe runs where it's like during a race and they would just dismount and bum rush a cafe and take whatever the
extremely French.
They would just take all whatever they want, like juices, snacks and whatever, and wine and beers, and they would just hop right back on the bike and just zip off. And the store would have to like send an invoice to the event organizers, and the tradition was they would always pay it off. And it's like it's funny because like I looked at the footage from back in the 80s when this happened. They were drinking all the wine and like swapping bottles like while they were racing each other, drinking beer. But like they wouldn't do that nowadays.
That's unfortunate. It feels like a cultural trend that's been lost.
You're right. It used to be a more badass, like less stringent thing back in the 80s, you know? but it got a lot more. It went from like steel frames and like chilled out like dudes with mullets and like pit viper, like old school.
Oh, that sounds so much fun. And now
Yeah,
everything
going
looks
across
exactly
like Colorado
the same.
mountains, hell in the sun races on road bikes. Now it's like they're all these pro dudes in spandex with sponsors and influencer accounts, and they can't go out because back in the day you could
It was
go out.
more.
Yeah.
It wasn't as professionalized.
You had chicks showing up to these events back
Yeah.
then. It's like, all right, dude. It's like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, now they don't even get all their groupies are off stage or off screen.
Yep.
My brother did a little bit of bike racing,
It's
or he's trying to
awesome.
do that kind of thing, but he
Dude,
flamed out. Next time he's in the city, I need to introduce you to him.
Yeah, the problem is you got to be in really good shape,
Yeah,
and also it's
got
like,
that the right body type.
and the thing about especially bicycle racing, there's too much variety. Like you could do like if it depends on what you're built for. Like if you like there's downhill mountain biking, there's like uphill racing, there's fucking like road racing,
Yeah.
there's track racing, like velodrome racing, which is awesome.
Yeah.
There's street racing. That's what I would do. Like I would get into street racing. And then there's like track lacrosse or cyclocross. There's just all sorts of crazy like types of bicycle. And I think like the bicycle is honestly one of the greatest inventions mankind
It's
has.
an insane invention,
It
isn't
is.
it? And it's
It
such a
is.
recent one too.
You got to be really smart to invent something like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's
and
insane.
What else? It requires rubber, right? Like there's prototype bicycles,
You did
but
it,
without
it wasn't
rubber.
always inflated tubes. It was,
Yeah.
but it was rubber.
Without
No,
rubber,
I think
it's-
before rubber, it was wood.
Probably is difficult to ride on in a way
Yeah,
that
you're
rubber
right,
is
maybe.
not, or painful or difficult.
I think like Da Vinci was the one that.
Yeah, but I'm sure it was a wood or whatever because rubber's from the New World.
Maybe leather.
Leather is probably leather, but even that is not going to give
No,
you.
it wouldn't last long.
It would
either.
be it wouldn't last long, and I'm sure it's a painful ride.
No, you need rubber. Rubber was the missing element. But yeah, I mean, who
Is there anything in its gear structure? But no, it's probably just rubber, isn't it?
has to be rubber? Maybe springs.
Maybe those are relatively old. I think I don't know how old they are. The metallurgy stuff would be easy enough, the frame and all that, the wheel itself. But yeah,
you know it's an Italian thing. Like the Italians had to come up with that shit. Had to be the Italians. But it's
Probably.
it's an ingenious invention. You
Yeah.
know, like
incredibly efficient.
you want to hear something funny? Like
Go on.
Do you know the most physically, like in terms of movement, the most physically inefficient animal in the world?
Humans?
Well, actually, first of all, do you know the most efficient?
I don't know. What is it?
It's
Something quadruped?
It's the emu.
Huh, okay,
The
interesting.
emu are the most physically efficient animal in terms of movement. The least efficient is, you're right, it's human beings. But when you give us a bicycle, we become the most
Yeah.
efficient animal in the world in terms of movement. And Steve Jobs said he wanted to make his product, his Apple computer, like the bicycle for the brain. I was like, that is genius marketing.
Well, he
like,
was a
you gotta-
brilliant marketer.
like you gotta, he probably thought of that on an acid trip. He's like, what if I could make like a bicycle but for the brain?
Yeah.
Like straight up. And he's like, Woozy, my man Woozy, we're gonna make a bicycle before the brain. He's like, oh, what are you talking about? I'm portrayed by Seth Rogen in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the bicycle is. Yeah, I gotta teach you how to ride a bike.
I know. It's so embarrassing. I need
No,
to.
you shouldn't be embarrassed. You know what? It's like riding a bicycle. I looked it up statistically. It's becoming a rarer and rarer.
That makes sense. People in general, like people are slower to get licenses and less likely to be able to drive. I technically can drive,
But
I'm
how
so
about this?
out of-
Learning how to like traveling by bicycle is the most ethical method of transportation.
Yeah, it's just your own body you're using. I can see that.
It costs $0 to fill the tank, and you could always carry a separate tube with you and a separate pump, like a little mini pump and a couple of tubes. You will never be unable to get to where you need to go. And good riders just like don't get flat, so that fixes itself with experience and time.
Yeah.
So yeah, you should definitely, especially if you're gonna stay in the city, you got to learn how to like cycle about. And you know what? It's gonna be. I'm actually jealous of you right now. Like I'm jealous that you get to do this and explore New York City for the first time. Like after learning, I'm really,
That's a good point. Yeah.
I'm really jealous of that. Like it's better. It's worse than like watching your friend like watch your favorite movie for the first. It's worse than that. It's like this is like an intense in-depth thing. It's downright like a meta change. In how because
Yeah, of how I perceive reality, of how I perceive space and distance.
I put myself in your shoes, like how
Yes.
traversing this city, like, you know, leaving the apartment, walking my ass all the way to the fucking train station so I could wait for the fucking train. I'm at the mercy of the train to be on time to get onto the train before I have to fucking eventually transfer to either another train or a bus or some bullshit. But if I have a bike, suddenly it's like
Yeah.
it all gets whittled down to at most one train. Wherever
That's
I need
true.
To get to. It's amazing. It's an incredible fucking feeling.
And you can kind of transport it around depending on the bike. You can transport
Yep.
it more or less easily.
You could throw it on a train, any train.
Yeah.
And you could even throw it on some buses now, and like
Yeah.
and you could even throw it in some of your friends' cars. Like if you
Yeah.
carry a wrench in you. But the thing is, the only thing about having a bike is you have to carry a bag. You have to wear a bag. You have to
That's
carry.
fine. I'm used to that. I haven't been doing it lately, but
You have to carry
do that
a
all
few
the time.
rudimentary tools. You have to
Yeah.
carry like one multi-tool, a tube, or maybe
Yeah.
two, extra pair of socks, and a little hand pump, and you should be good to go.
Yeah.
You know, like also maybe an energy bar, and
Yeah.
since you already got the bag, this is the curse. You know, it's like the cycle.
You just
curse.
carry more and more stuff.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
have the
because you
bag.
can. Because
Yeah.
as a cyclist, you're gonna want like a good bag, that's waterproof and shit.
Yeah.
Might as well be waterproof because if you're already going through all the trouble, might as well get a nice bag that's water. And so you get a big one that can carry a lot of shit, and then
Yeah.
you just think of all the more stuff you could carry, and you're like. It's a cool feeling though because you go on you basically every day becomes an adventure, as a cyclist.
Yeah.
As an actual especially a New York City cyclist,
That's true.
every day really does become its own adventure. You'll see so many just riding through like 10 blocks in Manhattan on a bicycle. You will see rapid fire, so many more crazy shit in 5 minutes than most people see in like hours.
That's true. And you're just, I guess, if one area is boring, you just keep going to another one.
Yep, and you stop, you get fucked up. You maybe take a huge hit of crack or meth, and you
Just take a bunch of meth and just bicycle everywhere.
and you just scream out a bunch of profanities like "fuck shit," you fucking cunt, and you just say be racist, and you just write off.
Yeah.
You go to like a group of black people or Jewish people or Chinese people and say whatever the fuck you want,
and you bike away. There's nothing you can do.
Hope they don't pull out a gun. But other than that, there's nothing they can do. They're never gonna get you. Just don't go to that neighborhood ever again.
Again, yeah.
But yeah, on a bicycle, like even if you get chased by cops, what the fuck are they gonna do? Hit you with a car? Like run you down? Like
Yeah. If you're not actively
unless you
committing
shot
a
someone-
crime.
Yeah, unless you shot someone or they're not gonna do shit.
Or
You're just-
robbery, yeah.
You're just gonna ride away on your bicycle and go places where they can't go in their car. It's like it's just having a bicycle in New York City is one of the most amazing, profoundly beautiful experiences that I can't even just begin to describe the full depth of in words. Like it's just. And I know, you know what? I know people hate cyclists, and I empathize with those people because I'm a driver, and not just a bicyclist. I drive a car. I have a car, and I know what it's like to deal with like cyclists on the road. And like in my eyes, like when I look at them and like they do some fucked up shit and that fucks me up, I'm jealous of them. I'm like, I know exactly how they're feeling. That's where I wish I was right now.
I'm a
Like,
cyclist. I'm a protected class in New York City. The aristocrats of the road and the sidewalk.
Yeah, because you're a better person first of all because you're like you're more ethical and you're more athletic. Like you're a better person. It truly is like an aristocrat of the road.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. But yeah, it's great. But you know what? Like I also like I'll never disagree with someone for hating cyclists because
I understand they're so irritating.
because I'm that menace. Like I do ride like an asshole. Like I am the dick in the streets. So it's like I get it. I'll never argue. I'll be like, "Yep, you're totally right. Bicyclists are the worst." But I'm a it's like it's great being one though. Like it's fun. Another thing that I like about it is if you're like an artist, like any kind of creative, cycling will give you the best inspiration. You will
It's meditative.
Yeah.
You see the right things.
Yeah. And if you have if you're a photographer, forget about it. Like,
Yeah.
if anything, bicycling. I know so many photographers that became photographers through bicycling because they saw too many crazy things. I got on a bicycle and they were like, "Dude, I gotta just start taking photos."
Yeah.
And they become wildly successful because lo and behold, if you see that many things, riding a bike in a city, you're gonna capture it and it's gonna be great. Yeah, I really gotta teach you how to ride, man.
That's true. It's what
Let's start with getting you a bike. We'll get you a standard single speed road bike. It'll be like super cheap, and Yeah, it'll be my personal gift to you. I'll teach you how to.
I appreciate that.
Yo, I've taught an adult how to ride a bike before.
I know.
Yeah. It was a girl.
I know.
So
it
you
should
know
be-
you could do this.
I could do better than a girl. Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, even if it was a dude, like, it doesn't matter. I really think it's like if a fucking 2-year-old can learn how to do it, you can learn how to fucking do it.
And that was pretty embarrassing. I tried a bunch as a kid, but I just couldn't get it. I tried again as an adult, and I cracked my rib, and then I put it off for a long ass time.
How'd you learn how to do it?
I don't know. I was trying to. I didn't learn properly. My brother was trying to teach me, and I cracked my rib.
No, I mean, like, what was the process? Like, he just put you on the bike and was like, fucking go.
I forgot what it was.
You ever ride a scooter?
No, I haven't.
All right.
Actually,
That's a good place to start. We'll get a super cheap razor scooter,
Yeah.
and then we'll show you how to like just glide on that.
Yeah. All right.
No, I mean, I'm telling you this.
I know.
I know how this is gonna
My
go.
brother
I know
had a-
exactly.
yeah.
I'm gonna put you on a scooter. You're gonna be like, okay, I get this, and then I'm gonna put you on a bike, and then it's gonna take you like you're probably not even gonna fall once. Honestly, you're gonna
on a
like
scooter, probably not. Like
no. I mean, on a
yeah.
bike, I don't think you're gonna fall on a bike. You're just gonna like we're gonna get you the easier bike to learn how to ride on. You know.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be very.
I
easy.
know.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
And once you learn how to ride a bicycle, then you're gonna want to join a bicycle gang. You're gonna want to carry a nice like pocket knife if you have to stab people and then ride away really fast.
Yeah. I'll attach it to a stick so I can use it as a spear.
Holy shit! You think about a lot of stuff when you're riding long distances on a bicycle. Like let's say I'm in Brooklyn or I'm in like 60 something Manhattan and I have to ride all the way downtown to the ferry. That's like 60 blocks, which will probably take me about 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, if I ride just on the west side and just go all the way down. But in that time, riding those 60 blocks, I think about a lot of shit.
Sure.
You know, like a lot of fucking shit. Like,
And you have to be focused. You can't be distracted. You're not looking at your phone. You have
so you have no choice but to just like and just think about shit. It's like, oh, I wonder what this person's thinking about right now.
forces you into a certain mindset. Yeah.
It's like I'll literally be like swerving and say whoosh and say, I wonder what dad's doing right now. You know, like,
Yeah.
shit like that. Like, it's a cool experience, man, and it'll make you really sharp, and it'll make you healthy. It'll make you like it'll also like teach you a lot about this city, like a lot about this city. I really do think like cyclists in New York City are like street cyclists, not just like people who just ride around in the parks or on the boat.
Yeah.
I mean like actual street cyclists. Like those are like the owls of the city. They actually see everything at all hours, you know?
That makes sense. Yeah. The odd hours you're working and all that.
Although I will say this, you know, especially in New York City, now that like we have so many city bikes around, like cycling is only becoming more of a thing.
That makes sense. Yeah. The city bikes can drop them off wherever, pay a small amount, ride a distance, drop it off.
But I will say, I don't think it's as fun as like having like your own bike. I think it's like that's cool.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Oh my God. If I lived around your neighborhood, I'll be riding my bike
Constantly, yeah.
It's the best place to ride in New York. That's the one I always talk shit about living around Bushwick or Flushing Avenue or all, you know, like
I live more near Dumbo, but yes.
Dumbo.
But yeah, I am.
Well, I talk a lot of shit about living in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
and like
because you're not there, baby.
No, I used to live in Brooklyn. I have
know.
lived in Brooklyn. A cooler part of Brooklyn, in fact. I live by Coney Island, which is probably way cooler. But
yeah.
When I think about living in Bushwick, I'm like, it sucks. Everything about it sucks, except for the cycling. I think the bicycling is like the best out there. If you're a freestyle rider, like you'll see so many crazy shits. There's so many crazy sights to see all at once. Like as crazy as Manhattan is to ride for like 16 to 20 blocks, Brooklyn, like that
probably
area
just in density of things.
That area of Brooklyn is like so much crazier. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I've seen some fucked up shit riding through Brooklyn. Like a lot of fucked up shit. Pretty sure I've witnessed a robbing or two.
Probably have, I'm sure, in Brooklyn.
Yeah. I've seen prostitutes.
Yeah.
I've seen so many drugs. That's what I've seen the most of, drug deals go down where I know.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I've actively noticed drug deals. I've ridden past like a car like that was obviously just selling drugs, and then the car takes off right as I pass it. And I would be so scared because I'm like, are they following me? Are they following me? Are they gonna shoot me? And but it's like I'm like, nah.
Yeah, it's not that. Or You're nobody important regarding it.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I always remember. It's like I'm a nobody. I'm just a retarded
You're
Chinese
genetically,
person.
yeah, exactly. You're demographically invisible to the dealers. They're like, there's no way this guy knows or is involved in this in any way.
Exactly. So it's like I'm always good. That's another thing. I am Asian. You know.
Yeah, it gives you there's a certain advantage in a bunch of situations regarding dicey situations. People don't think you're a cop. They don't think you're a gangster.
It kind of makes you like Aladdin in New York City.
Yeah, yeah. The only truly invisible man in New York City is an Asian male.
Yeah, truly. Everyone else is like so. But me, I just.
Asians just have a natural invisibility spell on them.
Yeah.
Or Asian men.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I just move straight through. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could kind of like
a ninja.
I could peacock more if I wanted to.
Why would you?
Yeah.
Better.
No good comes from it. I tried it before. No good comes from it. Nothing good comes from it. It's either you have to deal with it because you already do it, or it's just it's just not good. I mean, like literally, like a lot of people just make themselves apparent without even meaning to, and I don't even mean like just visually, like with clothes or like grooming. I just mean like it could be the volume of their voice, like,
or the space they take up, how they occupy space,
or the amount they move around as they talk and shit. You know?
Yeah, I occupy a lot of space because of my twitching movements, my ostentatious, not even deliberate flourishes.
Do I take up a lot of space?
You have a big personality, but if you weren't talking or making yourself known, you'd be easier to miss.
So basically, if we were in a group and we all were in a crowded subway train, everyone would be uncomfortable and you would look at me and I'm just like in between like two fat people chilling.
Well, I guess I'm saying that, but actually I don't even know if that's true. You still have like a presence or a force of personality just standing there.
Yeah, but that's just because I'm like 32 years old now,
right?
You know?
And maybe you're just naturally good at good at exerting yourself.
If I was like Shinji Ikari age, you know, like
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, if I was like 14, forget about it. I would be completely unnoticeable, completely invisible. But now that I'm an adult male, you know, especially living in New York City for so fucking long, it's probably turns you into a type of person.
Yeah, you have to develop confidence and assertiveness, a presence that
I think what happens
makes yourself known.
If you eat enough shit. People are gonna start handing you shit, and you're like, "Wait, I've eaten way bigger shit than this.
Yeah, that's true.
Why am I gonna do this from you?"
You have to be a lot more dominant and assertive in New York. I'm not great at myself because I'm such a pushover, but even I'm noticing myself becoming more aggressive in general.
It's like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
you know, that's all you gotta say. It's like all you gotta do is learn how to say no. I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
like because that's how they get you.
True.
They get you by disabling your ability to say no.
No, it's very coercive. People are just always coercing, trying to push around, bully, rape each other here.
But if you, as long as you just like preserve your ability to say no, I don't want to do that. Like, there's not much they can do.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless they get violent, that's when all.
But that escalates things in a bunch of different ways, and most people do not want to be put into that situation.
But what I realized when things do escalate, it's never it's never because someone said no, I don't want to do that.
That's true.
Like every time something escalates, it was something for completely different. But whenever someone says no, I don't want to do that, it never escalates, in my opinion. Things do escalate in New York City all the fucking time, but it's never because someone said
Usually
no.
it's because both people start one-upping or amping up with each other.
But
and neither wants to lose face by backing down.
But it's never because one person said, no, I don't want to do that. And then that's it. And then they'll be like, all right, fine. It's only when someone like says something else other than that, where it's like, why would you make me do that? Or it's like, who the fuck would do that? Or it's like, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like some shit-talking version of it, but you should just be, you know, like no hold bar, just be like, no, I don't want to do that. That's it. And and a lot of people will take that some other way, but it doesn't matter. If you truly don't want to do that, you should say, I don't want to do that.
I agree. And something I've been always bad at, and I'm trying to get better. I'm getting better at it, I think, a little bit.
No, I never took you as a person who was bad at it.
Maybe I just feel like I am. But I could be a lot pushier.
No, what I think is you operate in a world that assumes everyone acts reasonably, which is fine.
That's true.
Everyone should act reasonably, honestly. It's just it's but then again, there's a part of you that assumes that you're being delusional in that expectation.
It's true.
So you expect ultimately everyone acts unreasonably.
Yeah.
You just expect that out of most people. So you overcompensate your reactions by over explaining yourself because you assume they're being unreasonable. So you're like, before you act unreasonably, let me explain to you how I'm acting so you don't have any reason to act unreasonably. But really, you should have more faith in yourself and other people.
I should. That is actually a big shortcoming of mine. I need to.
It's all.
Stop, that's
it's
something
not
I'm
just
doing this
you.
year.
It's a shortcoming of
everyone.
all of us.
Yes.
We all have that problem. We all have the problem of having faith in ourselves and each other. But if we did have more faith in general, and it's like, I'm not even talking about higher power. I'm just talking about having faith in humanity, like as a whole. Like
Yes.
which is hard to do. I'm not going to say it's an easy thing just to have faith in people and yourself.
It's hard.
But it's I think that's more important than anything. It's more important than like trying to make money. It's more important than trying to fix things with your ex. It's more important than like trying to get the new car. Whatever the fuck. Having faith in yourself and other people is the first thing you should tackle first. If you got that,
Yes.
then yeah, go after the other shit.
It's true.
I've always had faith in myself and other people, honestly. And that's what I think that's another thing that people don't like about me. It's when like it's not because when I say I have faith in other people, like you got to understand the actual like implication of that. I don't just have faith in good people.
Yeah.
I also have faith in bad people. Like I have faith in a bad person to do good things, or I also have faith in a good person to do bad things. Like
Yeah. What expectation? What do you believe is possible in others?
anything.
And
That's what I'm
opportunity.
saying.
Yes.
I think anything is possible.
And
with
the
people.
potentials that are
Yeah.
open.
So I don't think like that's my problem with when I say like I have faith in people. Yes, I have faith in people, but it's not just to do good.
Yeah.
No, I have faith in people to do anything because I
You believe they're capable of it.
I do have faith in the utmost and first and foremost in people's
Yeah.
just raw capability.
Yeah.
So it's like I never assume that's the kiss of death. I don't assume they're gonna do something evil. I don't assume they're gonna do something good. I just assume they're gonna do fucking something because people do always do something.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything
many
wrong with
potentials of man.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that perspective. I think it's the most respectful way to approach like fellow human beings, in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
the way I'm going about it, I choose to go about it and choose and like treating this world. If the world is a simulation, fine. But I do think we are all co-creators and we're just grappling with that responsibility.
The responsibility of creating
Like
a
we're
better world,
co-mods,
a
we're
good world.
co-admins, we're all mods of the game.
We're all co-moderators
We just
of
don't-
this
first,
giant
A,
Discord server we call
The
our...
only illusion is being made to forget we're moderators, and B, is this assumption that everyone's going to be a bad mod. It's like no. I think if everyone woke up to their power of being a mod, we would choose ultimately to do good things.
True. Well, I have a lot of experience of Irish people becoming mods and how terrible it usually ends up being
Yeah, I know.
out in
what you mean.
internet communities.
But if Irish people knew that Muslim people were also mods, like they would chill out a bit. It's like this is why I believe in that spiritual Second Amendment. Like,
Yeah.
everyone has to be not just me, not just you, but also the hijab wearing people, also the Irish people, also the Catholics, also the Africans. I want all of them.
the major groups of the world, hijab wearers, Irishmen, Catholics, many of which are also Irish,
And the Jews.
and Africans, and Jews, yes.
the Chinese.
Chinese. Okay, now we're getting a diversity of human archetypes here. 1 billion
That's what
Chinese.
was missing. And the Canadians.
Imagine if there was 1 billion Irishmen like there's 1 billion Chinese.
Oh my god, that'd be awesome. Actually,
Yeah.
there'll be so many more Irish bitches, to
Yeah.
go with. I would love that. I would get me an Irish girl for sure, an Irish Catholic. Out of the 1 billion Irish girls in the world, I would find me a nice Irish girl.
If they had just never introduced birth control to the Irish and they just kept reproducing as they previously did.
No, China would do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would do something against Ireland. Or more like Ireland would do something against China because, I don't know. China and Ireland, well, China and Britain, the United Kingdom never really got along in the first place because
Opium Wars, the various consulates in China.
just a few reasons, a few pivotal key reasons.
Yeah.
But
So-
what I do know is that there are a lot of hottie, half Hong Kong, half British, British accented Asian Hapa girls in Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, all those
They're hot.
Hoppas there. Yeah.
I mean, you always got that British businessman goes to Hong Kong. Gets
Yes.
Asian, they make a daughter.
French, many such cases.
French, yes, and they're just really pretty. That's my ideal woman. Just some hottie hoppa
Hoppa
chick
Hong Kong. Hoppa Hong Konger.
Hoppa Hong Kong. But she would never go for me. She would be like, "Nah, I date tennis. I date professional golfers. All right.
Yeah.
I date like hedge
You're
fund
too
men.
lowly in class.
Yeah, no. The best I could hope for, honestly, is a Catholic girl. Is a nice Catholic girl,
Yeah.
a Catholic born chick.
Or Orthodox. Though I know
Orthodox
Slavs
what?
are pretty
Orthodox Catholic.
Eastern Orthodox. That's what Slavs are.
Oh,
That's like
Slavs?
Russians, Ukrainians. They're part of the Eastern Orthodox Church, usually like the Russian Church. They're usually different ethnic group churches. Like there's a Greek Orthodox Church.
I don't think I vibrate.
Armenians.
I don't think I vibrate well with like the winter Latinas.
Yeah, I don't. I know, but I never engaged with them either.
There's the thing about Eastern European chicks. Actually,
All
you know
the
what?
Balkanoids.
Actually, you know what? I can't even talk shit. Maybe it's a New York thing, but like every Eastern European chick that I've been friends with has been super chill, has been super cool. They've always been like, they've always drank with me, they've always smoked with me, they've always partied with me, they've always like, they really are winter Latinas. You know, they really,
Yeah,
are,
disposition.
they really did just act.
They're
like
just cold instead of fiery.
yeah.
Actually, that's interesting. You just switch out the elemental.
Yeah, the fire and
Valence,
the hot,
yeah.
They were just icy Latinas, and
Yeah.
it was cool. They're chill. Every Latina I've known in New York has been super chill for the most part. Every Eastern European chick that I've known in New York has been chill for the most. I think New York just like levels everyone out. It's like death, like the equalizer. You know, like,
Yeah.
whether you're Chinese or Latina or fucking Eastern European, you're gonna want the same shit at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You just want to get fucked up, have a good time, you know, like make a lot of money.
Right. Yeah.
Making a lot of money is great. It's a good feeling. You can do that in New York easily.
I know that's true. I need to get on that and figure out a way to make money, even though I have so little interest in money.
Well, bartending is the easiest way to make a lot of money, honestly.
Mm.
If you're able to do it, because not everyone could keep up. First of all, the job is demanding. It's more
Yeah, it
demanding
is demanding.
than you can't be retarded and be a bartender. It's just not. It's
I make a good go of it,
you
but
got to
yeah.
be pretty clever. You got to be at least socially adept, somewhat. And you could be like technically retarded and still be socially like.
That's very true. I've met bartenders like that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, you got to at least know people. You got to know how to jive with people and have a good time with people to be a good bartender. And but the thing is, if you have that down, you can make a lot of fucking money, in my opinion, if you're in the right
Yeah.
place. Like, because I think, and also you get a lot of pussy because you're gonna talk.
Don't have that experience, but yeah,
Well, you got to be at the right spot.
that's true.
Like, if you're in a college town bar, or if you're in like a, just a hot spot.
Yeah.
You know, where you see a lot of pussy just pouring in and then they're talking to you all the time, and eventually one of them, like, especially if you're there till closing, and like eventually you're going to see a few girls who just never went home with anyone, and then they're just like there looking at you. It's like, this bartender's kind of cute. You know, like it definitely happens all the fucking time. You know, it's like, you just
Yeah,
gotta
a
get
lot
the
of them
right,
are very drunk, but yes.
they got to be
I
at
mean,
the right
they
spot.
are, yeah.
They got to
Right,
be at the
yeah.
right spot.
True.
You got to be at the right spot.
That's what it really comes down to, yeah.
So next bartending gig it has to be at the right spot. You should get it by get it somewhere near Grand Central Station, or get it somewhere near Madison Square Garden or some shit. Get it like,
Oh, they'll be busy and deal with a lot of obnoxious
but you'll make a
figures.
lot of fucking
That's
money,
true.
bro.
That's true.
You'll make a lot of, like, you'll have like people from like Long Island and Connecticut coming in. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
this looks like a nice boy. You know, like, it's like, where are you from? It's like, I'm from Massachusetts. And then
That's
they'll be
a
like,
good-
oh
that's a
shit,
good-
tell me what.
That's a good version of my voice. That's true.
I do a really good.
You
Carmen.
do a good Carmen.
You know why? It's because I listen to your fucking voice.
Voice on this podcast,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
you know
yeah.
my intonation,
I'm just, like,
my
listen-
weird cadence.
I'm just listening for hours, just like fucking like Carmen. This is Carmen's voice, because like, you know, I mean, I listen. It's just you're the most consistent guest so far.
That makes sense.
So I'm just like listening to your voice all the time, and it's like, I don't know. I guess I'm just used to listening to it. It's
Oh,
also my own
appreciate it.
voice too, and like sometimes I like fucking I impersonate myself, where I hear myself say something like obnoxious, where it's like, oh yeah, that's so redundant, and I'm like, oh, that's redundant.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't help it. I'm like, ugh. You know, you just roll your eyes at yourself, but it's a fun feeling. You know, I'm like, it's an entertaining thing about podcasting to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
I get, it's like visceral reflection. Like, you know how they, you know,
Right.
like the process of self-reflection, but in like a raw, in your face way where you edit your own fucking podcast. Like you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But I never regretted an episode so far because it's like
Same.
It's like a good experience, you know.
It
Just
is a good practice.
Yeah.
Being able to talk at length.
I know,
while
like
under
I know that
substances.
I just have this intuitive feeling that like I'm gonna, at least in 10, 15, maybe 20 years, I'm gonna like look back on this,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be a good
Actually,
fucking
it's a
time.
good way of journaling in a way, isn't it? Journaling what you're going through at that particular time, what you were at that particular age.
Oh hells yeah!
Gives you a good perspective on yourself.
Hells yeah, and it's also something that's like I don't have to do alone.
That's true. So it's an inherently social activity.
And it's also like it helps the people I do it with because it's a
Right.
good way. It's cathartic. I mean, like there's no other way to put it. It's just cathartic to be able to just like let it out, especially when like, you know, when people first come on, they'll be like, sometimes they seem like a little reluctant to talk about things,
Yes.
but once
Very
it becomes
rude,
clear and once it clicks in their head that they're
That
they
they're
can
able
just talk about it, they just let it out. You know,
another factor is that you sort of fall into the role of performing correctly for it. You want to get on point with it. You just naturally notice the cadence, the way you're talking to the other person takes on this podcasting air.
oh yeah.
It comes very naturally, just having the technology in front of you.
Oh well, that too. Yeah. It's also like, I mean, I don't know. You're right. It does come naturally to me because you could say like you can only say so many times like I just listen to a lot of people talk, but who the fuck hasn't? You know, it's like I guess I do pay attention to cadence and delivery when it comes to like speeches,
Yeah.
public speaking in general, because I do know that it moves people.
Yes.
I've also noticed this specifically when after reading like Robert Greene books.
Yeah.
How they describe like, you know, the art of power. Well, it doesn't say this explicitly in like say the 48 laws of power, but what I've noticed that in all, you know, these observations of the laws of power, 90% of it was like enabled through speech. It was enabled through, well, not just speech, but like just your ability to transmit words to another person's senses, you know, like
Such a big part of humanity. Yeah.
yeah. Which is why they say like spell casting, like all of manifest. Okay, so here's where we get into like what I believe like is real magic that
Yes.
actually exists. It's manifestation. And like a person recently asked me like first I like they seem to have like the wrong idea of what manifestation was. So I asked them like, what do you think manifestation actually is? And you know, they said some weird thing where you just like kind of like you just I don't know. I don't even remember what they said, but they said, "All right, then you tell me how do you manifest?" So I told them, I was like, "It's really, it's like tuning a radio, right?" So
Yeah.
let's say this, like let's say your mind, your brain is like a radio, and it's going to experience whatever frequency it's tuned to, just like turning different channels. Like all the channels are playing at once. It's just you're only going to hear the one that you're tuned to, right?
Yeah.
So your brain is like a radio, and whatever frequency it's on, that's the reality it's going to experience. Each reality is like a different station. So let's say your frequency is tuned to like feelings of gratitude and openness and happiness. Then that's the reality you're going to experience. Like everything before you, you're going to be like, oh, great. I'm thankful for this vape. I'm thankful for this White Claw. I'm thankful for this friend in front of me who I get to talk to. I'm thankful for this shit. Whereas like, let's say your frequency is just completely altered to like, I don't know, like lack, feelings of lack. It's like, ugh, what the fuck? I'm drinking White Claw. Like, I wish I had something better to drink. Like, maybe we should have gotten a bottle. It's like, I wish we had better weed. Wish we had better things to talk about. Wish I had a better friend to be with. You know, like it could go either way really, really fast. So your brain is that powerful of a device, and it's all determined through words. And this is why words are powerful. So
It's like CBT.
and this is most demonstrable when it comes to like how you define the self. It's like, oh, I'm just a piece of shit. I don't deserve anything.
Right,
Like,
right.
I don't deserve anything good. What the fuck reality do you think you're going to experience if you keep repeating those words in your mind? I mean, what is a belief? A belief is nothing more than a repeated thought, a repeated set of thoughts. A repeated set of thoughts turn into a belief, and that's what the beliefs amount to, just repeated thoughts. So if you're in control of what thoughts you repeat in your head. And I actually just recently said this. I was like, if you listen to any person who sincerely says things like, I can't control my own thoughts, then you ask them, then you should respond by asking them like, all right, well, what do you think you actually are in control of? And however they respond, like then you'll hear what a retard or a psychopath sounds like.
Right. Oh, that's a good line.
But it's true. Like, however they respond, they're either going to talk like a retard or a psychopath at that point. If you can't control your own thoughts as a human being, what the fuck does that make you? Because you realistically, that's the only thing you can control. You can't control anything else. You think you can control it, but the truth is, like, no, you're not in control of anything.
Yeah.
Anything could turn out to be something completely different than what you intended to be. The only thing you can control is your thoughts, is how you perceive, is how you reflect on things, how you decide to feel about things.
Up their mind to be.
Yes.
What Abraham Lincoln said.
That's the ultimate like inner art. That's the inner game. You know, like. That's alchemy. That's what alchemy truly is. People think alchemy in terms of a literal sense are just stupid. Like, no, alchemy is not about literally turning lead into gold. Alchemy is about turning your lead state, your lead-based frequencies, and expanding your consciousness to be able to, you know, like say, first of all, craft a meta-narrative for yourself to be able to like perceive your base desires in a specific way. It's like, no, I'm above this. And you can be above it. It's easy to be above it, you know? You don't have to be the dickhead that needs to like fucking do those dickheaded things, even though you really, really want to at the time. Like, you don't have to be.
Yeah.
Even if you cave, that you could still say, no, it's not me. It's this body. And it's but you can't use that as an excuse. You have to say like, all right, because I can recognize my desires and it's up to me to control it. You have to take responsibility for it. You know, like a greater responsibility for it. That's why people don't want to admit to a meta narrative or a soul. It's because that would require taking responsibility for your material form and your material decisions, even if it isn't always satisfying, you know, immediately. Like, so like, you know, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to real magic. This is the key to manifestation. So if you want to manifest something, say like, let's say I want a new job, or I want to make like, you know, let's say like I want a new job. Well, why do you want a new job? So I can make more money. Okay, well, why do you want more money? So I could have more freedom. All right, so you want freedom. That's actually obtainable. Yeah. And now, you know, like what's making you feel, then you got to ask yourself, what's making you feel unfreedom? You know, like not freedom. Like what's giving you the feeling of being unfree, and then you got to break that down. And then once you break that down, and that's really what it boils down. And you can't do that if you're too caught up with the emotions in the moment. Like if you're too caught up with the feeling of like lack and like anxiety and like fear of loss and all this shit of stuff that you haven't even lost yet. You know, like if you keep living, you're not going to be able to think of it this way. You're not going to be able to think in terms of that clarity. You got to learn how to detach yourself to that immediate emotional, animalistic, monkey brain reaction of like, oh no, what the fuck, my girlfriend might be cheating on me, or oh no, I might lose my job, or oh no, but like, you got to be able to like, first of all, detach yourself from that. And like, and the longer you live in that state of like, not separation, but just acknowledgement, it's observation. That's all you're doing. You're not denying it. You're not denying your animal urges. You're not defying it. You're not saying they don't exist. All you're doing is observing it. You're observing the stuff. You're observing the anger. You're observing the horny. You're observing the depression. You're observing the anxiety. Just observe it. Be the third party. Don't be that anxiety. Don't be that horny.
Don't be caught into those mindsets.
Just
don't be caught into that.
Just
state.
like zoom out just a little bit. Just be the guy that
get
sees
perspective
it.
on it. What people are always telling you to get perspective, and how
Yes.
frustrating that can be.
Yes.
What they're actually saying. So often when you're in those kind of moments, it just sounds like a frustrating insult or bullshit people are telling you.
No,
to get
it's
over
such
it,
an important
concept. And you're kind of you're denying that perspective when you are resentful or angry about it, or dwell on it, or look too deeply, or dwell on your unhappiness and just spiral further and further.
You just got to learn how to humiliate yourself really quickly. You know, like
humble yourself.
The act of humiliating yourself should become like ripping off a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
You know, it should just become, all right, yeah, whatever. I'm an idiot. What do you suggest? You know, like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a stupid moron. Like, what do you got any ideas? You got a better idea? You know, like, it's just once you learn to do that, everything just works out way better. It's true. Like, you know, whether it's you get lost with a friend, it's like, all right, you're right. You know, like before your pride even kicks in, it's like, I know we just had this argument. Yeah. And I know you said I was wrong and I said I was right and we went with what I did, but we're already like 100 yards in. I already know I'm wrong. So I'm sorry. Yeah. Like it's way better. And it feels better when you do that. Like it's harder to do that. But once you break that stupid flimsy layer of pride and just break that layer and just say the right thing that you know you're supposed to say, like it really works out like a fucking Disney movie. You know, like I hate to admit it, but like
I could see that, yeah.
But those times when I just like acted like that fucking idiot kid in that Pixar movie where I'm like, dude, I was wrong. You know, like I'm sorry. You know, like I'm not afraid to be that guy anymore, and it's just like it feels good. You know, like it feels good to just like be like I fucked up. I fucking fucked up. I'm sorry. And like it's also satisfying too in a sick, twisted way, because like it's almost like we live in this fucked up world where no one expects that of anyone. Everyone expects everyone to react in the shittiest way. So when you're that one person who's like, just do something as simple as just owning up to it, and you're like, dude, I'm sorry, I fucked up. You know, knowing that like you could just as easily like get away with denying everything. Just say it.
That's true.
And
it's helpful for yourself. It's helpful for the friendship. It's helpful for the other person.
And it's helpful for me, but it's also, it makes me bitter because I'm like, the world is a fucked up place then. Like, if that's what it takes to get in a person's good graces, like, you're like, shit, how broken is this world then? You know, like,
it shows a willingness to open up, to have vulnerability, to be considerate of the other person.
Yeah, but that shouldn't be like a value. That should be a norm.
I see. I see. Yeah. Well, it makes it all the more significant when you do.
I know, but I don't want to think of it like that. I want to think of it more like, you know, where it's like, imagine
the normal thing, and not like, doing that as the aberrant behavior.
Because that's how I want to treat it. You know, I want to treat it as like, look, the only way I could do this so easily is if I treat it as just, this is what we're all supposed to do.
Yes.
But which I guess is automatically imposing a standard on them, which is going to make them, you know, a lot of people not like me. But you know what? I don't care. You know, because I'm not trying to push it on them. I'm just going to treat it for myself as a normal thing that I'm supposed to do. And I'll just do it. You know, like show gratitude, you know, and stuff like that. It's hard, and I know this is hard, but I think it's worth, like, you know, because I know I'm gonna make a ton of mistakes, so I can't afford to be a dick when I don't have to be. Like, wow, that's like one of the most profound things I've ever said in a long time.
It is a good note.
Fuck.
So
I'm gonna smoke this last joint and then we'll sign off.
Okay, sounds good.
How'd you like the food tonight?
Oh, it was good. What did you think of it?
I thought it was good.
I was gonna run to the bathroom. Is all.
So you know what I've been thinking about?
What's that? What have you been thinking about?
Old urinals.
Old urinals. The ones that go down to the floor, or the ones that are troughs?
Yeah, the ones that go down to the floor. I mean,
yeah,
the ones that are like troughs are just like new school. Like you're talking about like the little like they're like.
No, I mean the ones that were just a whole railing at the bottom of the floor. That's something that they all removed.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about
those are ones that were in like the 1940s or whatever. The urinals was just one big piss pen.
I went to an old public school, like where it's like in the one of the boys' rooms. It was just the wall. It was one long wall urinal. Like,
yeah. Oh, okay.
But there was like different. There was like each individual spigot. You know.
Yeah. The drain.
The drain. Yeah. So
yeah, like that. That used to be the norm.
Do you like that design of urinal?
I never was at a urinal like that. I've been in places that have urinals that go to the bottom of the floor.
Let's say you had your own. You had to design
urinal in my house.
Not your house. Let's say you have to design your own academy to train bartenders.
Yeah.
As a teenage bartenders.
Yeah.
Like you had to train teenage bartenders. What kind of urinals would you have in the boys' room? Would you have individual like automatic flushing ones, or would you have like?
I'd probably have the new standard just because people are used to those.
But the old school urinals were pretty cool.
Yeah, they are pretty cool. I like the ones that go down to the floor with no dividing spaces.
I mean, you know what people don't even think about these days is the medieval standards of like, you know, back in the old days, they didn't even have like flushing, so you just had to go into this one specific castle wall in this hole that just like had this like poop chimney.
Yeah, and I always I've pissed outside, but yeah, that seems or any old outhouse or anything like that. Porta potties smell a lot better than they used to. Have you noticed that?
It's because fewer people use them.
Yeah, but I think they just have new cleanly products or whatever, new air fresheners within it. The ones that don't, like, I remember going into ones that used to, or just like a privy where there's flies buzzing around and all that. It's so preferable what we currently have.
Do you have to dig a hole to plant a porta potty, or are they just solid?
I think the modern ones just have tanks, which is another factor.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I think
the modern ones do not smell bad, but it's whatever they're putting in them.
I mean, old school. It's not like porta potties were always like that, right? Like you never had to dig a hole to plant a porta potty, right?
I wonder. Well, I mean, with outhouses, sure, or the privies and things like that.
I like the idea of a porta potty. I mean, it's just also it's like it's kind of unnecessary in my opinion. Like if you're truly outdoors, you should be allowed to dig a hole and shit in it and piss out. So
Yeah, and you have to trust people to be willing and able to do it and all that. But yeah,
I hate this idea that you can't be allowed to piss and shit outside. But the problem is when you live in a city, you have no choice but to enforce a certain standard of not
but
being.
people piss in public a lot. Men piss in public a lot in New York City.
First of all, I will never give up that fucking privilege.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what women say. I don't give a fuck what anyone says.
Yeah.
I will never, as a man, give up my right to piss in public.
Yeah.
First of all, I as a man,
Yeah.
I have.
You're
I
able
will.
to.
I will fight for the right for even women to piss in
In
public,
public,
in
yeah.
peace. I will literally sit there and like beat the fuck out of anyone who fucks with the woman pissing for a while if that's what it takes to make it. Like I think every human
Yeah.
should be able to piss outside without being fucking bothered.
That's
As long as you pick a fairly decent place, as long as
Yeah.
it's not like ridiculous,
Yeah.
But then the problem is, it's like when you live in a city, you can't do that.
Yes.
That's the problem. When you live in a city, you can't
Well,
do
I don't know
that.
how much New York is enforcing it currently. I'm sure they are, but
All I know is like as a man,
Yeah.
it's easier for me to sneak a little pee in.
yeah, that's very true.
It's easier. For
You just
me.
have a bottle of pee, you sneak into the movie theater.
just sneak it in. Like I could sneak a little pee. It's like
Oh man, you're pissing in your
it's like
seat in the movie
It's like
theater.
3 a.m. You're waiting
Yeah.
for the L and it's not coming for hours, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna sneak a little pee at the end of the platform.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna walk to the end, all the way to the end of the platform when I know there's no one. It's 2 a.m. Just sneak a little pee.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure girls do it too all the time. It's 2 a.m. They're waiting for the L. They'll casually walk down to
Yeah.
the end of the platform and they'll sneak a little pee.
Mhm.
That's what these girls do. That's what I would do.
Yes.
Even if I was a girl, like I would do the same shit. Like this is
Yeah.
why you gotta, I just preserve this culture of public pissing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not punk. I'm not a punk. I'm just a poser punk. But that's the one punk thing that I truly, sincerely believe in is everyone should
Public pissing.
Public pissing. Public shitting is different.
Yeah,
that's-
public shitting's
that's
rough. Then
different.
you're in San Francisco.
But pissing, man.
Yeah.
You can't. People gotta piss. Like I'm sorry, but I'll smell a little piss in public.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay with that. But shitting is different. Like India, take notes.
Yeah.
Right? You can't let your people shit in public.
In the streets all the time, yeah.
Even in Japanese anime, like or porn or whatever,
Yeah.
like movies, like poop is always like blurred out and censored.
Yeah, interesting what you have discussed responses to, but yeah.
Wait, why?
What you have discussed responses to.
Oh yeah. All I'm saying.
What things disgust you more than other things.
Exactly, but they blur out specifically feces, fecal matter. I mean, it is obscene. Like feces, like shit, like shit humor. It really is. But
That's part of
South Park does poop humor surprisingly
Yeah.
gracefully. Like they're best. They're the best at poop humor. It's because they're the medium. It's because it's like cardboard cutouts. Like they're the most useful. They're the most. They have the most leeway when it comes. You want some weed?
No, I'll have one head.
All right, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's that a boy. Yeah, you smoke that weed. It's better than smoking your fucking. Actually, you know what the pipe is. Here's the deal. Men need caffeine and nicotine. All right,
That's true.
These are essential.
It's really fucked up how society has deterred them.
It's an
Well,
essential.
deterred nicotine.
It's an essential drug for us men. The problem is they made cigarettes, not nicotine. They made cigarettes, these fucking McDonald's blend of.
They made Sicotine. They replaced your nicotine with Sicotine.
I bet you love that.
Yeah, I do. I'm really proud of that one.
Sicotine.
This is my crowning achievement of this podcast.
They made Sicotine.
Yeah.
But yes, men need nicotine and men need caffeine.
Yeah.
We need both of these things to function, especially in the modern world. If you want us to adapt to this weird digitized world, you need us to be on caffeine and nicotine.
Yeah. Stimulants in general.
Yes.
They should put Adderall in the drinking water.
Why do you think Germany is so good at everything? Like literally.
Yeah, that was part of their character, but yeah. Adderall, yeah.
I mean, if you look at German degenerates, even their degenerates are better at being degenerates than all the other degenerates.
Yeah, they also do it in a very uptight way.
That's what I'm
Everything
saying.
they do
Like,
is uptight.
Even the thugs are better at being like thugs. Like, it's insane. Germany is just an elite country.
They love, they love like Euro house music.
The only thing I don't like about Germany is that it's not on the coast of a beach, like a shoreline,
There's a shoreline, northern shoreline, like in Hamburg.
Really?
Yes, it's not a landlocked country.
Oh, really?
Yes, the northern coast, like right across from it,
So
is
it's got
like
access to the Pacific?
the Atlantic.
Oh, the Atlantic, I mean? That's wunderbar.
Yeah, like that's like they're right across from Sweden.
That's great. That's wonderful. I love that. I love that for Germany.
Well, yeah.
I didn't know that. I'm just so
They
bad.
never had much of a navy.
I'm just
but
really bad at first of all,
at geography.
here's two things I'm really bad at: geography and world population estimates. Like if you told me like what's the population of Ohio, I'll be like, I don't know, 2 billion, and they'll be like, what the fuck are you talking
What's the
about?
population of India?
6 billion.
It is 1 billion.
1 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's not 6 billion, but yeah, 1 billion sounds about right.
Yeah.
This is areas I need to study. I got to make a mental note. Study world populations. Imagine
Well,
that
America's world population is like officially, probably not counting illegal
could you
immigrants.
imagine like a fucked up timeline?
Sorry.
What were you saying?
Go. You go on. You go first.
No, I was gonna say, could you imagine a fucked up timeline where it become too good at like knowing like the world populace, like with populations of nations, like oh yeah, the population of that.
And it ruins your life. What's America's population?
Fuck. 3 billion.
How many? There's 8 billion people on Earth.
Yeah.
Or pushing and going to probably cap at 8 bill.
Okay, like 1.5 billion people in America.
325, 26 is like the official number. Is probably higher, much higher with illegal immigrants.
300 million.
350 million maybe with illegals.
Oh my
is
god, this
probably
is
lower
so
than-
embarrassing. See, I'm
Sorry.
really bad with No, but I at least
So I don't know. Like
at
Idaho
least-
probably has like 2-3 million is my guess.
At least I admit I'm really bad with population.
Let's
Like
see,
I'm
Idaho
really
pop.
bad with population.
Let's see. So let me see how off I am. I don't know. It's like maybe 3 to 5 million.
Of America?
In
Like you're talking about the
Idaho.
whole American
Idaho.
population. Idaho?
Yeah.
Just the
Population
right?
is 1.9 million. Okay, my earlier guesses were way closer.
All right, so
I was just guessing a low population state. Much
So-
of America's population is in California.
so
like
this
50
is what I'm
million.
gonna do. I'm gonna
ahead.
make flashcards. I'm gonna do a first the continents
Mhm.
and my country. and my
But you don't
state.
know what continents there are.
No, I mean the population of the continent.
Oh, okay. Do you know what the continents are?
Yes, all 7 continents. I'm just saying, like the population is what I have trouble with.
I know, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a great knowledge. I just have
Also
rough
Europe.
figures.
Europe. I'm not like Europe is like a mysterious beast to me. Asia, I kind of know fairly well off the top of my head because I've like actually been there. But Europe, I've never been to. So it's like also, well, South America. I guess I'm not that familiar with. South America
Yeah.
is just like Africa to me. It's like they have the same similar shape.
They have a similar shape, that's for sure. Latin America is also dysfunctional, but way more functional, or certain areas of it are way more functional.
Yep.
I mean, it depends on where you go. Certain parts of Africa are much better than others.
Damn, this has been such a stark reveal of like where I'm like where I just what the things I don't know. I mean, I don't know the population of like countries,
Yeah.
states. Also, I'm pretty out of touch with that. I gotta learn this stuff. I gotta just figure it out. I mean, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start with populations of continents. Then I'm gonna move down to key countries, then states. I think states are important.
Yeah.
What do you think the population is of Canada?
12 million? Let's see how close I am. This is just a guess. I'm like double-digit millions. Canada's population. Oh, nope. It is 38 million. I'm not much better. 38 million. Australia is 25 million.
I mean, that's still double digits, I guess.
That's true.
That's not a lot of people. 38 million.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's a huge country in land mass, but much of that is uninhabitable or it's not pleasant to inhabit. They're all along the coast. They're clustered in cities at their southern border.
We got to go and populate Canada.
Yeah. Yeah, we just, like, global warming will hopefully make northern Canada more hospitable, and Canada will become a cultural, well, far more of a juggernaut. Culturally. As opposed to how they currently have the band-wise. You're right that Canada has such an impressive music scene. Part of that is because of heavy government subsidies, but still.
Yeah, they're really good. They're really good at making music.
The Canadian government really subsidizes that because they're desperate to have cultural output.
Isn't Juno about Canadian music?
Alaska? I don't know. I don't recall. I never saw it.
Yo, there were movies about reflecting that era of like when
Scott Pilgrim versus the World is and also in Toronto.
Well, Scott Pilgrim versus the World was like the death rattle of the whole indie era of mainstream indie, which is ironic to say mainstream indie. It's stupid to say mainstream indie.
Well, it represents a real aesthetic.
Yeah, it was like Mumford and Sons was like, what the fuck is that shit? But anyway,
Trampled by Turtles is a much better version of the same band.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World was like the true tail end. But I think I think what reflected like one of the peaks was like Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Never saw it. I know of it.
Yo, you never saw that movie?
No, is it derivative of other things that Michael Cera did in that period of time in his life?
I mean, it's that really sold it, you know, because that's stuff. First of all, you know, you talk about like a post-internet, a pre-internet era.
Yes.
That was truly a pre-internet. Because think about the premise of the movie of Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, right? It was these two kids from different parts of like New Jersey, I think, or upstate New York. Either one. I think it was New Jersey. Anyway, they were fans of the indie music scene. And there was this really popular indie band that was playing in a secret location, in a secret show in New York City somewhere. So they had to follow all these clues, you know, like left at like these hip spots. So they have to follow to find the secret show. And Nick and Nora are these two like indie fan kids that just end up meeting together, looking for Where's Fluffy, which is the secret indie band that's supposed to play at a secret show that everyone loves. And it becomes a romance, you know, like they fall in love like during like this whole like journey to find this band, and it's like it was a cool movie. It's a cool fucking movie, especially I think it was the setting. It's because it's New York City, like you can't go wrong with that, like you know, especially for this kind of movie. But what was also interesting was that it was obviously pre-internet. Pre-social media, I should say, not pre-internet.
Pre-social media,
because
do they have flip phones in it?
Well, they were relying on stupid clues at a fucking like stupid like you know hip venues just to find out where the secret show. That would never work.
Just find it on Reddit.
Or like you know, or you message one of your friends or some shit. No, this was an era where they had like flip phones at best. You know, at most like no, they use payphones and shit. Like we got to watch this movie together. Like we got to watch this fucking movie.
Sounds romantic.
It is romantic. You
don't really see many romances. Well, you don't see many of a wide variety of films, but
all right.
I would like just a straightforward romance without cynicism.
You know what I like to think came out around the same time as Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist was like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah.
That was another movie that was like around that. That movie would never be made in the social media era. It's like they would never have those kinds of problems.
Well,
it's like.
Yeah, you still could make it, but yeah. Part of the reason why you have so many films
you have more
that are
options.
recent
like,
period
that doesn't make
pieces.
sense now. It's like you could just go on Tinder and find some other Joel or find some other Clementine, you know?
I don't know. People still get really hung up on people even in this era.
I guess, but now...
I certainly have.
But now but that was before Pornhub was a thing. And
Pornhub was extant at the time.
And Reddit.
Same. And dating apps.
Eternal Sunshine of the fucking Spotless fucking Mind. That fucking movie. The fuck. It wasn't a bad movie. I think it was too ahead of its time, maybe.
It was a huge success.
Was it?
Yeah, I mean, relative to its budget.
Would you consider that a cult classic or like a blockbuster hit?
I think it had a relatively high box office return. Yeah. And it has a strong, devoted following.
So it's like both a cult classic.
Yeah, and it's a...
That's pretty cool. That's a cool fucking movie then. The only thing I don't like about it is it didn't make me feel good when I was a teenager. It just made me reflect on like relationships that were just not working out for me as a teenager at the time. And I was like, this is really uncomfortable. And I watched that movie. I was like, this makes me really even more uncomfortable, but in a more relatable way.
It was a success. It made $74 million on a $20 million budget. And it's beloved. It feels like it's a pretty... It's not a huge box office return, but a lot of people have seen it and loved it. And it made money.
Did you see the movie Lost in Translation?
Yes.
Oh, that's a good fucking movie.
That's another movie that made money, not like Avengers money, but it made more than its budget for sure. It didn't lose
more
money.
than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
It was a good fucking movie. My favorite.
It was a good era for film, actually, in a bunch of ways.
And it was just edgy enough to reflect the time. It was like, I love the part where the hooker comes in, the Asian hooker.
Yeah.
And she's like, lip my stocking. He's like, lip your stocking.
Yeah.
I was like, and she was trying to like simulate the oh no, get away from me, stop molesting me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that movie. I would watch that movie with my own teenage son or daughter. Like I would be like, it's time. You're old enough to see this goofy ass fucking.
You're old enough to look at Scarlett Johansson's ass.
Like you're 11, 12 years old or whatever.
Yeah.
We're old enough to watch this stupid movie. It's a good movie though. I love that movie. Don't you like that movie?
Yeah, it's a great movie, and a lot of people love it. A lot of girls love that movie.
Well, it was made by a girl.
Exactly.
It's a girl. You know, movies made by girls are going to be girl movies.
Yeah.
But I liked Lost in Translation. It was a good girl movie because Bill Murray plays the good knight in shining armor for that kind of hipster artsy fucking.
I wouldn't call him a knight in shining armor.
No, but that's
a good character to contrast or this.
No, I mean for a lost artsy girl in a fucking like no name, in some foreign city like that you just don't belong in, and then that is your knight in shining armor. This older actor, washed up type, and who's lived it, and he's cool and chill and.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. He's a great person to meet in that situation.
Exactly. That's why
I wouldn't call him knight in shining armor.
You know what?
Only because he's not saving.
First
her.
of all, Lost in Translation. That's a self-insert movie. Like
yeah,
that movie is about that director. Like she
had a relationship with some older man or some near relationship or had a fantasy of having.
And that girl, that stupid blonde superstar actor, that was Cameron Diaz. Like that was her experience. Meeting Cameron Diaz and like play it out. It's like, oh my god, like the ditzy fucking Hollywood bitch of the early 2000s / late 90s. Like that was Cameron Diaz. Like, so yeah, I think that's a cool fucking movie. That's a cool fucking movie. We gotta watch it.
Yeah, I do like Lost in Translation a lot.
And then there's the really chaotic evil version of that era, which is Boys Don't Cry. You ever see that movie?
Yeah.
You saw that movie?
Boys Don't Cry is from the early 90s.
Really?
Yeah, Boys Don't Cry with the
oh shit!
The spoiler trans man.
I'm sorry, I went too far back, but yeah. Okay.
No, it's okay.
But that was a good movie.
Yes.
I like that. That was a chick flick for sure.
Yeah.
I like that movie though. It hit me hard. I was forced to see. Oh, I wasn't forced to see it. I was living with my aunt and my uncle at the time, and. They were close relatives to my dad because, of course, it was my dad's sister and her husband, and there was me, and they were there because it was a close knit thing. And one morning, I go downstairs on a Sunday or a Friday, I think, or whatever, and I had off school. But
they were watching Boys Don't Cry.
No, it's just my aunt.
Yeah,
it was her alone, just watching this movie. And I was like, "Hey, Aunt Jean," she's like, "What up?" And we were both watching this movie, and. Yeah, I just saw a bunch of shit as like a 10-year-old kid that I don't know if I should have seen, but it affected me because I still remember it to this day, to the point where I remember the texture of the couch I was sitting on.
Yeah,
I remember the distance of the bathroom next to me. I remember everything, and that was an intense fucking movie, especially to watch as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine watching it at 10 years old or so? Like,
yeah,
like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. But it taught me a lot about the world in that like 90 minutes, or whatever.
Developed a lifelong interest in trans men as a result.
No, never that. All I knew was it's tough being a woman.
Yeah, that's true.
All I knew was that it was, and I was really young too, so it's it was good that I understood that. And it's not that I probably realized any epiphany. I feel like I always kind of knew that because my grandmother, when I was even younger than that, was always complaining. She was like, "Oh yeah, I'm the grandma, so I have to do this, I have to do that," and I'm always like, "Yeah, I guess that's true. It's always the grandma who's a woman."
Yeah.
So same thing with the mom, and same thing with the daughter. So yeah, I guess women do have it rough. So I've always kind of had that sense, but it wasn't until I saw that movie and in a Western context where I was like, "Oh, it's just fucked up." Like. Maybe we should show more 10-year-old boys don't cry.
Perhaps.
Like, maybe we should show that to all the boys in 5th grade. Like,
It's very hard to empathize and put yourself into the other sex's body to really even get close
You know what
to
I think?
conceiving of it. What?
personally, I believe in reincarnation, and I think I was a woman in a past life.
Yes.
In the
Under those
last
circumstances,
life,
yes.
in the last
I
life,
might
think
have
was
had a run of lives where I was just male, but I'm sure if you go far enough back, I'm a woman.
Yeah, but I think in the last life, I was a lady.
Yeah.
I was a lady in the last life, and I don't mind it. I think it's I think what happened was.
Your pose, yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, I just think what happened was like as in my past life as a lady, I was like I want to be a guy in the next life, and now I'm a guy. So, I mean, I don't know this for sure. Like,
yeah,
there's no way to confirm this, but I'm just saying like if I just intuit this, like I think maybe this may be the case. Like I feel in my past life I was a female who wanted to be a male, and
really, you're a trans man.
I don't think like the whole transis like really applies when it's like metaphysical.
Well,
it's like,
post life.
I mean, is it
through
really
your
trans if I'm actually the guy? Like
No, it isn't.
because what if before her, right?
You were
what
also a guy.
What if as the woman, like I was, in a past life before her, I was the guy who wanted to be a woman. It's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
and then I'm just going back and forth, and maybe like that's how it is for me. Maybe I have to live 10 lives as a guy, 10 lives as a chick, then 5 lives as a guy, then 5 lives as a girl. Like maybe it's some weird pattern that I don't understand. But all I know is like I have a feeling in the past life I was actually a chick. And then maybe for the next 10 lifetimes, I'll be a guy. If there's even 10 lifetimes to go back to, but there will be. I don't think it's linear. I don't think I have to be like in the future, constantly moving forward. I could be probably brought back to live a lifetime in the 20s, or maybe even before that as like a slug or a dung beetle. Like it could be anything. Like I guess.
Writing's the. Oh, fuck.
Yo,
Samsara, the cycle of reincarnation.
Yo, if I was just thinking recently how before, if we ever as human beings as we are now, ever came into like contact with actual gods, like
Yeah.
lowercase g god, little g gods, they would be like gigantic, immovable, invulnerable statues.
Yeah.
Giant, like huge, like I'm talking like bigger than like I don't know the horizon. You'd be like, what the fuck? Like I can't even like if I could see this, but I can't imagine how this could get so big. And then like for us to just like snap our fingers like that, for us it would take like thousands of years. Like we would just look at that, just like it would take thousands of years to make that kind of action. Like or to blink would take like thousands of years. Like. That's like God. That's like to me. That's how.
Yeah,
God.
the time scale operating under.
And if it's like, how do you kill that? Like if we were,
You have to be a JRPG protagonist. You have to be a teenage boy, androgynous teenage boy with spiky hair,
with a harem of women support characters
that you're too angsty to fuck.
Yes, but you got to kill this God, this awe-inspiring, gigantic, just blank face like.
No, they have abstract design faces, or kind of like a monster face, or they have a variety of their gods.
Now, I would want like this angelic, like just blank, emotionless face with like this flowing blonde hair, just like standing there in the sky, and it's giant. Like their whole face is like it almost takes up the whole horizon,
Yeah.
Like, and then we'd have to like fly up to it, which would take forever, and then like. Anything we do it doesn't even respond because like just a blink again would take like hundreds or thousands of years for us. Like that's how I imagine it would be if we came into contact with like gods. But then I think about it in the literal sense. Like, what if the gods, quote unquote, are just mods behind a screen in some meta sense? Like,
And they're just power tripping like so many earlier
and all they're doing is
internet
programming everything.
forum mods.
Yeah, just like coding everything we're going through. It's like, yeah, like that's. But it'll be the same thing in a sense, right? It would be the same exact thing, just symbolized with more metaphorical layers. But yeah, we're basically describing the same thing at that point. Like if you see immovable, gigantic, like Titanic statues that just are immovable but that control everything, and their time scale is that's exactly like a dude behind the screen. It's like, all right, let's speed up their time, slow it down, speed it up. Oh, let's add this, let's add that, let's whatever, tweak it here. Same thing. It's the same exact fucking thing if you think about it.
God is just editing with the video editing software of reality.
No, he's just doing it from a shell terminal, running scripts.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, now let's pull up.
He
this
has all
mod-
his macros going at once.
Let's pull up this module, open it up. Let's check the stats on that, check the analytics on that, check the sniffing on
I'm
that.
sure
check
it's a
the data.
fine simulation or thing to watch unfold.
Yep. Crazy. Like, yeah, and then it might as well be a gigantic fucking like.
I guess that's what people talk about when they talk about simulation theory.
This must be
Is
how
God just simulating reality?
This must be where like Nick Land must have been right before he lost his fucking mind. Yeah, he must have been like, oh yeah, all right,
That and try, yeah.
let's dive deeper. Like, and then we're just like, okay, like, yeah. No, I think we got to be more evolved than Nick Land. We got to not let it become.
We gotta not go insane on
Yeah.
amphetamines.
Yeah, and we got to make sure to touch grass, touch martial arts, and touch grass.
Yeah, as
learn how to
opposed
ride,
to just touching.
learn how to ride bicycles.
Yeah, that's true.
Learn how to fish. Like we
I
gotta
just
not
want
be
to go
like
net fishing.
We gotta
just
not
have a
be-
huge net and just capture as many fish at once.
We gotta not be bliss and intellectual junkies. Like being a bliss junkie is bad, and being intellectual.
That's a
junkie
good
is bad.
description. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but being bliss junkies, right? They're
Yeah.
just like, and intellectual junkies are also just as bad. And you just gotta touch grass.
It's needing to have the right balance of things.
I like Alan Watts. I don't think he was a bliss junkie or an intellectual junkie. I think he was just. I think he was just being and tried to find the right way of being.
Yeah.
Terrence McKenna is kind of a more contemporary figure, I guess, than Alan Watts.
Alan Watts is a good reference, though, or a good point to consider.
Yeah, the more autistic. There was also an autistic manifestation of that, which is like Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, true.
He was the autistic version of the spiritually awakened person. I mean, how it manifested for him was through like the actual
Inventions, procedures, all that.
Well,
Very
also,
iconically eccentric. Yes.
He also heard the music of the electrical current of the fabric of reality. Like he didn't see electricity just like, conducted from he saw electricity everywhere.
Yeah.
Like in every solid object, in the air we breathe, he saw it everywhere. It's like how Einstein sees physics everywhere. He saw electricity everywhere. And I like Alan Watts specifically because Alan Watts is a good bridge between the literary mind and the spiritual mind, because the scientific mind and the spiritual mind is actually fairly easy to gap, in my opinion. I think it's very easy to convert a scientist into like a religious or spiritual person. It's harder to convince a literal person into a religious person or a spiritual person, because the literal person takes things literally.
That's always an issue for me as a literal autist.
Yeah, literalism is the beauty of like human communication. The
Yeah.
only thing is, the problem with literalists, the most depressed ones, like how like there's like, first of all, if you look at the entire spectrum of writers, there's no way to single out a specific type. Like writing is just such a broad, fucking crazy spectrum like of art, right? Like there's so many different types of writers. There's so many different moods of writers. There's so many different like classes of writers. There's so many different like calibers of writers. Like being a writer is just such a multifaceted thing. It's almost a quantum practice, writing, isn't it? Because it takes on so many meta. You could write narratives. You could write meta narratives. You could write meta narratives. You could write meta. It's like it's such a powerful thing.
Yes.
So as a writer, as a literary person, like it's you could get lost in the sauce very easily, which is why you need I guess I don't know. I don't think spirituality is the answer for literary people.
What do you think is the answer for people with that literal minded?
Physical practice, martial arts like wrestling, judo, sword, kendo, fencing, archery, parkour, cycling, just something physical baseball, anything, just something that keeps touch grass.
Yeah, something that puts them in connection with their bodies.
Yeah. For the spiritual person, I would say things like whatever keeps them close to math. For me, it's music. Music, I think, keeps me close to mathematics. Because music doesn't lie.
Yeah.
It really doesn't, because everything can be measured now. Everything is quantified. You can measure the rhythm, you can measure the notation and the pitch. You can't lie about it. It's either in it, you either got it or you don't.
Yeah. And why do you think people like music? What evolutionary purpose does it serve?
It's a form of expression.
Why do we like it so much? Is it just that form of expression?
Oh no, we like it because of well, first of all, there's layers to it, right?
Right.
There's the meaning behind, say, on the surface level, and people might say, "Oh, it's deeper." No, it's a surface level where you apply ego to it. It's oh, I have desires, I have longings, I have hopes, I have dreams, I have desires for revenge, I have desires, I have anger, I have feelings, I have feelings of reacting to injustice. I want to right some wrongs. I want to right the wrong of my life. I want to make something of myself. I want to experience something new. I want to experience another person. I want to connect with another person. I want to make their life better. I want them to make my life better. It's such an emotional spectrum, right? That's why music is so powerful on one level. On another level, on a biological level, scientifically, different frequencies of sound have been proven to affect your molecules. That's just biology, or not even biology. That's what do you call that?
Biology,
I guess,
or chemistry.
Chemistry, yeah,
maybe. Physics.
Chemistry, or it's physics. Because we're talking about particles and energy at this point.
Yeah, it would be physics.
Yeah,
having chemical reactions, biological ones.
Because it's all vibrations of, it's all transmitting vibrations. That's what sound is. So it's like
food.
So when you think of it that way, it's it is the most fundamental aspects of our being. So there's the emotional and the cerebral aspects, which is the meaning we apply to the music and the expression that we put out through sound. But then at the same time, there's also the physicality of it, the how the physicality of it affects our biology, which is literally sound being transmitted through vibrations and different melodies being different oscillations and different pitches and tones and rhythm. It all connects, and it all affects each other, and we're a lot more sensitive than we give ourselves credit for. We take it for granted, honestly, the power music has over the human mind.
I was thinking about how in the past a lot more people were able to sing or perform instruments.
I could still do it. You're right, though. You're
because
right.
People used to sing all the time. People used to coordinate with singing, when rowing boats.
That's another thing. You ever notice pre-social media era? In my opinion, when I was growing up as a teenager, before social media was our default mode of communication, we would meet up at the beach. We would have parties. We would get up 12 and 24 packs and just pass around the acoustic guitar, sing Sublime songs, and that's how I learned how to actually play and perform.
Yeah,
you gotta do it.
People used to sing in church. People used to sing. This is before they had recorded music.
What if they were slaves and they had no other way to entertain themselves except to sing?
And to coordinate their work and timing.
I'm just a slave in the cotton fields.
Negro spirituals.
The Chinese people are singing "Sao in the rice paddy."
Yeah, they do that. People used to sing in taverns. Before you had recorded music, you used to have your drinking songs and everyone at the tavern would sing.
What about the bard was able to transmit all the ancient knowledge through song because they didn't have writing in those ancient
that's
times.
Oral traditions. Yeah.
Music is very important. It's incredibly important.
I guess percussion is the bass instrument because of the beat of your mother's heart or of your own heart.
Well, Well, when it comes, do you like clubbing, like dancing at like?
No,
Clubs?
I have not really done it that much. Maybe I should give it more of a try. I end up finding it too loud in clubs.
All
I
right.
find it annoying.
You know
I
what
would
you gotta
try
do?
it again.
I gotta show you some rudimentary and compulsory dance moves.
Okay.
Because if you learn like compulsory dance moves, you could just go to any club and
Yeah.
every time someone breaks up or down a beat, like a consistent beat, you could always do some compulsory dance moves, and
Yeah.
everyone will be impressed because you know
Yeah.
compulsory dance moves. That's just how this works, you know. Like it really is formulaic like that.
Yeah.
Like, and people don't give it enough credit because it does affect your chances of say like reproduction and mating and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And these are on an animalistic level, they're important cultural practices, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway. I do think like, you know, when it comes to like rhythm and stuff, it is important to consider like the effects on how we communicate, for example,
Yeah.
on the most visceral levels. I could teach you how to dance.
I like that. I would love to learn how to dance.
Well, I'm a DJ.
That's
You know
true.
what I could do? I could teach you something better than dancing. I could teach you how to like. I mean, do you ever make music before?
No, I've tried learning instruments. Was never very good at it. I would love
Alright.
to learn how to. I would
You know what
love to
I'll
learn
do?
how to dance.
You know what I'll
though.
do? Like I'll do this. Like
What?
let's say like learning how to read music.
Yeah.
Right, actual music is like learning how to like read and speak Latin, right?
Right.
I can teach you how to speak Pig Latin.
Well,
You
that's
know, like,
just reversing letters.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see
Yeah,
what
I
you're saying.
could
The
teach you
P.
how-
I see. Yes.
Yeah, I could teach you how to fucking, you know, I could teach you how to like speak the most rudimentary, but at least it's a formulaic way of perceiving a language that you don't
Yeah.
even see as a language. You know, so once you perceive it as a language, you could find different ways to interpret that language yourself, whether it's classical notation or
Yeah.
whether it's do guitar tabs or whatever. You know, you'll find your way. I'm just going to show you how like it's divided into pitch and rhythm. There's time and pitch. You know,
Yeah. Music is.
like a note's played for a certain amount of time, and then the timing is the rhythm.
Yeah.
So that's really how all music is. It's just timing and rhythm. I mean, pitch and rhythm. So that's all we got to remember about music. It's all about pitch and rhythm, kids.
Yeah. Time, sounds, the absence
Okay.
of sound.
And you know what's crazy about
What's
music?
that?
So paintings decorate space.
Yeah.
Music decorates time.
Yes. Yes. Accurate.
Yes.
Sound and time. Yeah.
It's good, right?
It is.
This is
You
why-
can spell with songs.
Yeah.
Bach would put his name into songs.
Yeah.
I know, insert.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think sound and music is very powerful. And I also think, like, you know, a lot of that ancient technology, you know, when it comes to, like, the secrets behind building the pyramids or, like,
Yeah.
how ancient civilizations could have possibly did the things that, like, they might have done.
Yeah.
It's through sound. I think they had technology that was able to, like, make...
Yeah. Sonic. I've heard of this stuff before.
Yeah, like being able to turn heavy objects into very light objects, or to be able to defy gravity using like specific manipulation of sound frequencies or just frequencies, you know?
Right.
Like, yeah, like that's
Mm.
because it's all connected through the very fabric of like what connects all matter. You know, it's sound. That's what sound is. It's just vibrations, and we are all vibrations. Even like every bit of our being is vibrating, right? All the atoms in our body, all the molecules, they're all vibrating in a specific frequency or in a specific density, or a specific frequency that produces a specific density that allows us to take the shape that we're in.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's a device that you could just like touch you with, and suddenly like your whole vibrational density goes off and you turn into a pile of like powder. You know, like
Yes.
that I do
I've heard.
think,
Yeah.
I do think like we're that delicate, or our physical being is just like like a specific density of light, just in a specific combination. And if you were able, you could take us apart just like that. But that also means you can manipulate it and build it up into who knows what, you know? Anyway, yeah, we're not. No, you're right. We're about past time anyway. But thanks for
Thanks for joining us for another episode. Sorry about it.
Yeah, this is a good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
For
good night,
sure.
everybody.